Live from New York. What?
These guys.
What happened?
I mean, there were some predictions made, and
Mac Jones is back. I predicted
right.
that years
I mean,
ago.
Brou gets to be happy today. Brew's Ravens won.
Yeah.
You called the Eagles-Chiefs game almost to a T. You, on the other hand, oddly, even though I picked the wrong team, my Chiefs-Eagles prediction was closer to accurate than yours. Brou, fair or not. I had a 3-point deficit. Either team could win. I picked Kansas City. You picked a demolition.
The differential.
40-point embarrassment.
This is for Patriots and Mac Jones.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know. I missed. We were both wrong.
Okay. All right. Fair.
I thought it was going to be a big game from Jalen. It wasn't. No, this is just Mac Jones and Patriots specific.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, a little bit of Cam Ward. He had a good play.
Cam looked good.
A
play.
A little bit of Bryce.
But I mean,
a little bit of Bryce had some good plays in a loss.
They were in the hunt.
A little bit of Bryce.
Bryce?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
A little bit of Malik Neighbors, top 3 wide receiver.
No, first of all, that's not even your guy.
Well,
Second of all,
Neighbors is not.
buddy,
Neighbors is
be
my guy.
careful.
Who was throwing him that ball? Russ is back.
Oh, this guy. Wow.
We might do a show that's just the intro.
You floated that. Wild sent a late night fever dream email that was essentially that. Like, what if we just do a, did you see this?
Yeah,
for
did you see?
20 minutes.
Hey, did you see? With no video.
All right, I'm fine.
First hour, first things first. Today. Kelsey drops the ball. Chiefs drop to 0-2. How much trouble is Kansas City in now? Meanwhile, Joe Burrow, turf toe. News that he might be out for the year. What does this mean for Cincinnati? What does this mean for the AFC North? And what does this mean for his career?
This is a disaster.
I started to feel really emotional about it, kind of.
No, this is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
And what is it about games involving the Jags with a star quarterback? Get the guy a cart.
What?
Get the guy a cart. I mean, no, the other game was in Jacksonville. This was Cincinnati. So, but get the guy a cart.
You are on cart patrol.
I am.
The Ombudsman is back. He's always talking about carts.
He's your $250 million man. He's
Get a cart.
limping. They're awkwardly propping him up. Get him a cart.
Get a cart. Yeah. And finally, Cowboys win a thriller in Dallas. Professor Broussard is here. With a grade and maybe some belief in Russell Wilson as a nice little bonus.
It was
segment.
nice to see. I'll just say that.
The narrative going into the game was, this is going to be the last start of his career. And he threw it for 450. Like, that's pretty good.
Brutal interception.
Yeah. But still,
you might have thrown for 450 and lost the game.
Yes, true. But he also gave him a chance to win it, and he staved off Jackson Dart.
Dart's like, I wouldn't have thrown that last one. Kevin Wildes, Nick Wright, Chris Broussard. We didn't even talk about you were in Baltimore. We're going to get to it. We're going to have sandwiches.
Great time.
But we're starting with an 0-2 start for Kansas City. Mahomes loses 3 in a row for the first time in his career. Also 3 straight to Jalen Hurts. Kelsey coughs up the ball on the goal line. Seemed frustrated during the game. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
After the first 2 weeks, you let games slip away. That we played two good football teams and made mistakes in big moments, stuff that we're not used to doing. But I think we're coming together as a team, man. I mean, when you deal with adversity, it's about how you deal with it. And obviously, this isn't how we wanted to start, but how are we going to respond? So I'm excited for the next few weeks to see who wants to be challenged and how we can get back and really get after it.
Brou, Nick is still processing this, so we're going to start with you.
I was ready to go. I was going to go first, and then literally 20 minutes before the show started, I was walking around outside the studio, and I got aggressively heckled by an Eagles fan, and I now need a little more time. Like, it has gotten like
mean-spirited heckling?
Mean-spirited.
Really?
Intense, almost kind of like the vibe of it was he wanted me to bark back and see how it would go. So I
was about to say, knowing you, I'm surprised y'all didn't fight.
You know what? There was the show. I have a responsibility to be here on the show. So, but go ahead.
Are the Chiefs in trouble?
Chiefs in trouble? No.
Really?
Look, I know everybody wanted me to come on here and, no. Not as far as making the playoffs and still being a contender. Now, I picked the Ravens to win it all, so I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Oh. But anybody that's saying, they're 0-2, they're not going to make the playoffs, they're not a contender, that's crazy. No. And here's the thing. They lost 20-17 to the defending Super Bowl champions who had just blown them away 7 months ago. And to a large degree, I'm not going to say they gave the game away, but they had a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
First, let's go to their fourth quarter. And I'm going to talk about it. They have this great drive, 17 plays, I think it was, 74 yards or something like that. They get down to Philly 6. Travis Kelce, that's a drop. That's a catch you got to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best tight ends ever. You got to make that catch. If they make that, they're either tying the game or they're going ahead. Yeah, on that drive, I'm saying if he scores, obviously, a touchdown, they're up 17-13. But at the very least, they're going to tie if they can't score. Like, if he just doesn't, it doesn't get intercepted. Okay. So that took point. And then, of course, Philly goes down and gets a field goal. So now they go up 10. And Kelce, it's been a tough start to the season for Kelce. He admitted he ran the wrong route or didn't run it right, and that's how Xavier Worthy got hurt. Now this drop, I get it that he's feeling, it's kind of like CeeDee Lamb from, last week. So but that's self-inflicted. You don't expect him he's not going to keep doing stuff like that. Secondly, Mahomes, when the overthrow of Tyquan Thornton.
Brutal.
3:44 left. I think we have it. We're going to have a show. But you don't get any more wide open than that. And he just flat out missed it.
Were you shocked by that?
But I was shocked by it. But he's missed a few again. Young season.
He talked about missing
Tyquan.
Gray.
He missed Noah Gray in the first play of the game. That one to me is not nearly as damaging because they hit it 40 seconds later.
But it
the
cost
40 seconds matters.
That's
the 40 seconds matters.
Yeah. They came back and
missed
scored.
a kick in the game.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
So just things now I'm not saying they would have won. I'm just saying they were right there, and they had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And I think, Nick, too, Andy Reid's 4th and 1 call from his own 36 and the first drive of the third quarter. I don't know what he was thinking.
Andy put it on him. I think he was thinking that they needed to, start the drive, this half off with some momentum and do well. And he obviously also was thinking they'd get it. Would you like to go, KW? Because I think you're probably at least a little more concerned than Brou is.
Yes. The problem is these Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs that I fell in love with. I think the offense obviously is strange. I think the vibe is very strange. I thought the free 4 shirts before the game with Rashee Rice, when he didn't appeal a suspension, I thought it was odd and seems to be I read that as a lack of focus, not support for Rashee Rice. I feel like the Mahomes overthrow was just so uncharacteristic that it struck me as odd. I think the Kelce, people drop the ball. Everyone drops balls. It's not a big deal. Kelce being frustrated throughout the game seemed odd. Chris Jones' conversation with Jalen Hurts, when he kind of is talking about stats rather than winning, seemed uncharacteristic of a champion and a future Hall of Famer like Chris Jones. So the whole thing struck me as odd. That being said, there is a path. Started 0-2 after losing the Super Bowl in the last 20 years. It's the Chiefs this year. We don't know their record. The Bengals made it to the AFC Conference Championship game, and the 15 Seahawks did go 10-6, lost in the divisional round. So it's not. I don't think the normal 0-2 stat, which is I think 12% of teams make the playoffs.
Well, and remember, there's 17 games now.
So I still think there's a path. But if this Chiefs team doesn't have.
No, listen, it hasn't
like a Super Bowl
looked,
hangover.
it hasn't looked
Mahomes
right.
not playing well. Kelce's not playing well. I get what you're saying, but I just think I'm talking about them making the playoffs.
If you take it to 0-2 teams that made the playoffs the previous year, which means you're removing the 0-2 teams that were bad the previous year and then bad again. Mm-hmm. Since they've expanded the field, it's 5 out of 12. So you know what I mean? So that's almost half. So so here's the deal. Kansas City is in some trouble. Okay? Because they are going to have to really fight until they get their weapons back, and even getting their weapons back doesn't fix the following. They right now, the only way they can effectively run the ball is Patrick. Right. And I hate that Patrick is having to do that early.
I think he hates it.
Listen, I have always felt his deadliness as a runner is underrated because statistically he doesn't match up to the other running quarterbacks, but it's because he's so judicious with it. And then if you look at him, his playoff running numbers, he's as good as any playoff running quarterback ever. The fact that he has felt I needed to activate that immediately is concerning. The fact that he has, unlike last year, an excellent so far left tackle, but he still doesn't seem to be confident in the pocket, which I think has led to some of the overthrows. That part is concerning. The defense's inability, and I thought the defense played great yesterday, but the defense's inability to generate a pass rush without sending the blitz, sending the house, that part to me is concerning, and how difficult the early season schedule is with Rice suspended. Like, they are 0-2 you can come back from. 1-5's tough. And you know what I mean? And I'm not predicting 1-5, but 2-4 I wouldn't even be all that worried because I saw them.
They could be 2-4 too when you look at the schedule.
2-4 is on the board. At this point, and it's crazy to say this as the Chiefs guy, I'd sign up for 3-3, which it's only crazy to say because historically I'd never sign up for any loss in any of these games. So because I think Patrick has played better than his stats show, but has not been peak Mahomes in either of these games. And I think I believe in the infrastructure, I believe in the team, and you guys know, my darkest of moments, I like to see what Vegas is saying.
Sure.
The fact that they still have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl, 3rd best odds to win the AFC, which is, again, it's gotten bigger, but the gap between Baltimore and Buffalo is still there, makes me feel better. The other thing is this, though, Brou, and this is one of the reasons I wanted you to go first, because I didn't want to derail the conversation. None of what we've talked about is the story of yesterday's game. Because the story of yesterday's game is a pretty important seminal moment.
My goodness gracious, we've got.
Because I remember vividly in the first game of Jawan Taylor's career as a Chief, Thursday Night Football, standalone national TV, Chris Collinsworth was like, this guy jumps too often. And the whole world saw it and the whole league saw it. Well, thanks to the great Tom Brady and the great Dean Blandino, who I got to see briefly in Kansas City, they shined a spotlight on what all of us have known for 4 years. Not only is the tush push an ugly play, they jump on it every damn time. We'll show. When they don't jump on it, it's not quite as effective, and when they do jump on it, it's unstoppable. And yesterday's game will be known as the day the tush push died. So listen, rest in peace, Tush Push, you've had a hell of a run, and you're going to be allowed to continue the rest of the year.
Not quite R.I.P. It's more of like it got diagnosed with a horrible terminal disease.
Here's the thing. When it is the play you go to on 4th and short, 4th downs that you would never otherwise do, a false start absolutely kneecaps you. They all of a sudden aren't in that. And when you saw yesterday, and they did a good job on the broadcast of pointing it out, and I'll show you 2 tush pushes with obvious false starts, and I'll show you one without one, and you see if you can tell me the difference between them. What you'll see is, Dust, if we can run it, please. The first one is the one Brady was furious about. Both guards jump.
That's the one they got the touchdown.
Correct. Yeah. Both guards jump. You have no shot. Another one was the right guard jumped. They end up thinking they get the touchdown. They don't. And then if we can show you the one that the Chiefs actually no, that's another one where the guard jumps. My apologies. We can show you what it looks like when nobody jumps. And that's the one they didn't get any yards on. They ended up having to run it again. Now, even in those, the center is lined up ahead of the ball, which is against the rules, but fine. But listen, Jalen is great at it. The Eagles' offensive line is great at it. And it is effective no matter what. It is only unstoppable when the guards are getting the early jump and you got no shot. You at least have a puncher's chance if it's officiated correctly. And the Eagles have been living on the fact that they don't get called for that ever. And the fact that after that, Brou, after the Chiefs called their attention to it, both these guys jumped. They did it again later and guys jumped, and the guys didn't jump, to me was a signal they knew, okay, for this game, the refs might be looking for it. So I think that's noteworthy.
Well, I'm assuming you haven't done this, but I agree. Yesterday they were jumping, but to say that that's really the reason it's been effective over the last few years, I would have to see.
Well,
look at
what
more.
is
Like, I don't think
definitively
that's
true is the way they line up is against the rules. The center's head.
All the time?
Every time the center's head is in front of the ball.
Why is the league allowing that to happen?
Yeah, ask
That's
the
ridiculous.
league.
We may have hit a turning point where now the officials pay more attention
That's the
to
point I'm making.
The letter of the law.
The same thing with the Jawan Taylor. Like a bunch of tackles start a tick early or line up a little, but once he got the focus on it, and I think that's really damaging for your
I've been a guy that's been like, look, as long as the Eagles do it great, but other teams are failing at it, just keep it because they're the only team that's so successful. But yesterday was, I agree, in my mind, it was like the first time I've watched him be like, I'm kind of tired of them going for it. They've done it 6 times.
All right, final word on the
Just show the Vikings one real quick.
Oh, jeez, we're doing.
No, that's no. Just if we could, just because and just look at how they're lined up and how they get off the ball. If we just see it, the center is not ahead of the ball. No one jumps early. Now they screwed it up on their own, but my point is that doesn't look pre-snap wise the way the Eagles one looks, which is my point. Like the Eagles have perfected what they're allowed to get away with, and I've never on this show ever complained about officiating, and I won't ever do it. I'm not even complaining about yesterday. What I'm saying is I think now they are going to be under a closer eye, and I think that matters.
I think this will be the last year of the Tush Push.
I definitely think it's the last year of the Tush Push. He's going to run the sprockets off of it.
Yeah.
It also, even by the letter of the law, still be effective, but we'll see. Interesting moment, speaking of the lines, at the end of the game, Chris Jones and Jalen Hurts having a somewhat friendly conversation about stats versus quarterback wins. Take a listen. Okay, Brou, your reaction.
Look, first let me say Chris Jones. I think what he's saying there, at least what he's feeling, is our defense played well. Like, I think that's what he's saying. Y'all got 40 on us last time. Now we held you to 20. So I think he's saying that's what he's thinking in his mind. That's why he's talking trash even though we're about to lose. Jalen, you had 116 total yards. Threw for 101. I think he had like a 78 passer rating against a team you had scored 40 on like months ago. You didn't look good against Dallas, and you talking smack?
Well, he's not allowed to.
I don't like that.
He wasn't talking smack.
I love it! I get wild every single time. I love it!
How did you not take a lap?
Because I'm an actor. That's why. Y'all got to stop dissing me like I don't know how to act.
Bro, I do believe you know how to act, but I also know you would do the show with you. You're interrupting him.
I didn't know. I thought it was an insane
You
thing.
darn right you didn't
can't
know.
even.
Because I'm nice.
You can't even let Rick get his single shot
up
because
in
you won't shut up and get the bit.
I thought it was a bad take.
You can't blame me. I mean, the way
exactly.
Not
my fault. I'm sitting next to Denzel Washington. I'm sports media.
All right, go ahead.
Look, Jalen, he's a winner. It is why I keep comparing him. I'm comparing him to Terry Bradshaw and Draymond Green. Like, his legacy is not going to be, wow, he threw for 5,000 yards this season. He threw for 45 touchdowns this season. His legacy is going to be, this dude is a winner.
Yes.
And he showed you that. Who cares about the stats? We won.
It's your guy.
Dusty, the graphic. We're back. Oh, we have some movement on the graphic.
Wow.
Look, I agree with Brou, obviously. This is all that he cares about. And the numbers are wild. He has a total of 253 air yards. It's 12 more than Jake Browning, who just started playing
half the game.
Yeah. So the fact that
and where the passes show, while you're talking, Dust, throw up his passing chart from this game. Because it's also where, like, what they're doing, where they're throwing is jarring in how conservative it is, I would say.
The question I have for this, and I will go to the mattresses saying this is all that matters, is Kevin Petula's offense a little more, grinding the gears of what we saw Kellen Moore do? And even though Jalen has had a new offensive coordinator almost every year, is this offense going to eventually fly, or are we just going to have to grind out every game?
Well,
because a little bit, this is a great take, even though it's against my thesis. This is a great take. Right now, the Eagles, this year's Eagles teams has a little bit of last year's Chiefs team.
That's not.
If CeeDee Lamb catches that, it could go another way.
Right.
If Travis Kelce, we've had a lot of just fortuitous things happen. Winning is a skill, but fortuitous things have happened. I would like a straight up,
Hold on.
Can I
old
add to
school
that?
blowout.
Before you add to it, Brew, I have
Point differential.
Go ahead, Brew.
Well,
That's your take?
This is how
Never heard that.
remember, this is how they were winning the year
Before the
after they
supernatural
lost the
funk.
Super Bowl.
Right,
Yes, when
leading
they
into
were
the
10-1,
supernatural
everybody
funk.
was like,
KW,
they're not playing
you
well
are
enough.
allowed. We've talked about it, and I've just decided I'm going to be okay with it. You are allowed to go on Bill Simmons' podcast
You never
and
said that
present
take.
my takes.
You
as
said
yours.
the Eagles feel very Chiefsy?
What you can't do is take something I said to you in person 3 hours ago in
never
your
said
shared
that to me.
office.
Oh, you
I
did?
said, and I quote.
What?
I was like, the Eagles through 2 games, it feels a lot like, and the way they're being discussed, it's last year's Chiefs. Yeah, they won, but they could have lost.
I swear to God, that was, you did not tell, you may have,
KW?
David Beckham may have been
KW?
upstairs. You're confused. You
David
did not
Beckham.
tell that to me.
Okay, that's fine. It's, you know what, you're right, Wilds. Even though when you were saying it, you were like, wow, I just thought of this. It sounds like someone else's take, which is why I'm going to say
diss
that
to
was
the
a great
Chiefs,
take.
you wouldn't say that.
Okay, that's fine. I agree
But
with
here's
your
the
take.
other thing. They
But
beat the Chiefs close. They didn't. Now, Dallas was close, too,
Yeah.
but Dallas isn't like a joke.
Yeah, drunk.
No, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. Here, listen. One thing on the quote and the other thing on the bigger discussion. Before I am willing to say Chris was just unprompted talking trash and we're not going to get this,
think that's fair.
I would like to know what prompted that.
I think that's
You know what I mean?
a good point.
Was I don't think it would have been from Jalen.
Remember, they
But
were just coming out of the huddle.
right.
It might have been the whole game.
No, but I'm saying, and also did an
They said
offensive
he talks
lineman.
trash all the time.
Who?
Somebody said that Chris Jones.
Oh, yeah,
was
no,
great
he is. No.
world-class
I understand,
trash
but what
talk.
I'm saying is, did an offensive lineman say something about them, moving up and down the field? And he's like, man, you didn't even have 100 yards.
Right.
And then Jalen jumps back in and says, yeah, but we won the game. Like that's, so we're getting half of a conversation, not a whole conversation. That's first of all.
That's always dangerous when
Right.
you pull these.
But it's fine. Second of all, though, if this is, though, the way they're going to play, then, and this is frustrating for you, I think, there is a ceiling on where Jalen Hurts is going to get to in the quarterback conversation you love to have so much. And that's the cost of doing business. Like Brew, if they reel off, a dynasty, or if they, it's a different story. But you wanted this game, in theory, to maybe be a Jalen Hurts coronation game. You wanted us
it would have felt like it.
Right, that if they did what you said they were going to do and score 40 and he looks awesome, that we have a conversation about, hey, why isn't he the best quarterback in football? But when we see them win a game that way, and Jalen, by the way, to his credit, is okay with it, he's just not going to get the bump that I think you want him to get.
Yeah.
And I think that, by the way, is fair. I don't think that's unfair. I think that's totally like that.
I think it's
you
fair.
don't get everything in life always. And if this is what's best for the team, so be it. But it's just, the reason I wanted the passing chart is, I don't know if it's, and Dust, if we have it, great. If not, I'll describe it. It's a lot of dots very close to the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
It's either they're calling a game that doesn't show trust in him, or he is just saying, you know what, I don't need to take any chances. Yeah. No, you know what I mean? There's no chance right there. Like,
we don't turn the ball over and control the clock.
Yeah, then whatever.
And give it to Saquon.
Yeah.
Trust the defense and tush push. Mm-hmm. We're going to beat, the former champs in their building. Like,
yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
So be it. Yeah.
But
it's hard to become the best quarterback in football.
On first things first, on Tuesday, you're gonna be down the mountain.
No, it's not down the mountain.
Well,
he hasn't gone down the mountain, but you wanted him at the top of the mountain.
Well, now he's got to keep going.
Well, we'll see.
Well, he's going to move up.
We'll see.
Burrow's going to
He has to move up. Coming up next, we didn't talk about Joe Burrow. We're going to put him in the show.
We'll do that next.
And what grade will Professor Broussard give the Cowboys after a thrilling game? That's next on First Things First. FS1, the Fox Sports Channel, and Sirius XM. You're great, dude. What do you want me to do? You're so good.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find
and
it.
they can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Podcast has been excellent recently, and Gianna's just been crushing the YouTube and all of our social media. So if you get a chance, please subscribe. Right now, we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, who did win the game, but they lost their franchise quarterback. Turf toe will need surgery. Some reports say 3 months. Some reports say done for the year. It's the latest injury to sideline Burrow. In 2020, of course, it's the knees, 6 games, wrist, 7 games. He's also had a few maladies that sidelined him for preseason games. Cincinnati went 4-11-1 in 29-8 and 23. How concerning is this for Joe Burrow?
Well, it's devastating, and it's now 2 injuries that are incredibly rare for the quarterback. So the wrist injury is remember when he was he's got to talk to baseball teams about that one. He obviously came back from that fine. He had the best passing year of his career the following year. And turf toe to this degree, again, I'm basing this off Brou and my mutual, friend, Dr. David Chow, who said that for a quarterback to have surgery for turf toe is incredibly rare. And sadly, Coach, it also felt to me, watching this game, incredibly inevitable. Going into the year, the conversation on the Bengals was simply, is the defense going to be any better? And I not so quietly try to be man, that offensive line wasn't great last year, and I think it got worse. And in week 1 against Cleveland, he got battered. And in this game, he was getting battered. This wasn't one hit. And when you combine his own immobility compared to the other top quarterbacks with the fact that he really does want to stand in the pocket and hunt for deep shots. You know what I mean? He's not doing what, to be totally clear, Patrick did last year, which is, I'm getting rid of the ball, I'm protecting myself. No, he is trying to navigate the pocket. Those things plus the offensive line, he was going to get banged up. And now that it's this bad is obviously awful. Yeah. And for the Bengals, it means to me, I know Browning's played well, their season's over, but because I didn't believe in them if they had Burrow.
Right.
And I just don't know what it means for him career-wise to now have had 3 very substantial injuries to 3 different parts of his body.
Yeah, this is so hard from an organizational standpoint. And how do you plan moving forward where your franchise quarterback 3 different times now has missed significant amount of time? And when you look at it, it is different body parts. And I think the easy way to view this is it's just an O-line problem. But they've poured a ton of resources into the O-line.
Yep.
And they've poured a ton of resources into this offense. And they've done everything they can to help him be as successful as he can. And that makes a lot of sense. But it has a little bit of a Tua-like feeling where
it's just not concussion.
When it keeps happening, and now it's different body parts, and that was the issue with re-signing Tua, or giving Tua the big contract. There was questions about ability, but he answered a lot of those prior to the contract. Then it becomes a question of one more concussion, and he's out long term. Now with Joe, it's a different body part, but it's a consistent pattern that we're seeing. So how do you plan? Well, how do you plan moving forward, not knowing whether or not your quarterback's going to be able to be there long term on any given season? Yeah,
well, first I'll address the Bengals, who I did pick to make the playoffs. I would think they're not going to do it now. There is a path, though. If you look at their schedule, they're already 2-0, thankfully for them. But they got Minnesota, Denver. Those are winnable now. We might not have thought so before the season.
By the way, Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy out this week with an ankle injury. So that's going to be the Carson Wentz,
so
Jake Browning.
That's a winnable. Denver's winnable. If you split with Pittsburgh, let's just say there's a split. You got the Jets. You got Chicago, New England, Miami, and Arizona. If they won those, but that would be 10 wins. So I'm just saying, if he can come back, I don't think they'll make it. But I'm just saying, Browning's not bad. They obviously beat
played
Jacksonville.
well when he was there before. Yesterday though, they did win. He also threw the ball. He threw three picks. Yeah,
2 teams.
But he played.
I mean, he can win some games for him. So if most optimistic, Joe gets back in 3 months and they're alive or maybe at the start of the playoffs. I'm just throwing that out there. For his career, this is derailing what could be a Hall of Fame career. Maybe still will be, but I'm just saying it's already been derailed by his injuries. And I don't know, Coach, if he's injury prone or it is the offensive line. I know they put resources in it, but if you look at this is where he and Tua differ. He's been the most sacked. This is the most hits taken in the last 20 seasons.
Well, that's a horrifying list to be on.
Right, and because Luck obviously retired after 6 years, and this is Burrow's 6th season. Luck sat out 1 year, so 7 technically. Deshaun's I don't know if the hits took him away or his scandal, but he's not the same quarterback. And now you got Burrow. But he's taken, I think he's since he's been in the league, the most sacked quarterback and the 3rd most hits.
But to Nick's point, if you know that there's an issue, then maybe you can't hunt for those deep balls as much as you want to. And at some point, you got to realize that your availability is more important than some deep shot. And if you have to get the ball out a lot quicker than maybe you want to in order to set up some selective deep shots, then that's what you have to do, because you on the sideline does nobody any good, doesn't do you any good, doesn't do the team any good, and you can be a hero and play that type of football, but it comes at a cost. And unfortunately, this cost, he keeps paying this bill over and over again.
He plays within the pocket. The quarterback it reminds me the most of, honestly, is Big Ben. You know what I mean? Which doesn't matter if there's dirt at his feet, you know what I mean? Or whether dirt's the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
people at his feet or whatever it is. But Big Ben was like his superpower, was how big and strong
he was
and
so
tough
hard to
bring down. And so listen, he has now what's the movie? Is it? I think it's a baseball movie. It's obviously a baseball movie. The guy's going to become the all-time leader in minor league home runs. And nobody knows that. Bull Durham, thank you.
Nice, Kevin.
I knew you'd know it. KW knows
sports.
great stuff like
sport.
That. You love sport.
You seen Rounders?
Let me make my point.
The
point's important. And that was like a record you don't want to have. Joe Burrow now has a very real chance to be the only ever 3-time comeback player of the year. That's a record you don't want. Right now, he and Chad Pennington are the only 2-time comeback players of the year. And it's like it's a sadness, you know what I mean, that's now where we're at, because I think 3 months, you guys know what I've said about this new age NFL media injury reporting.
Yeah.
Escaped all injury means he misses a week. Right. Better than expected means he misses a month. They're very concerned means he's out for the year. They're saying 3 months means we'll see you in 5. And so
we'll see you next season.
Exactly. We'll see you next.
Like you look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets hit as hard as anybody I've ever seen. Yeah. And it seemed to escape injuries, and then some other guys get hit.
Except the one, Daniel got his knee blown out, though, one of the years. But aside from that, he's played through.
He's up there.
He takes, like Rocky-type shots.
Yeah. Coach, just because you share a seat with Greg, you don't have to ride for Daniel.
I was talking about his toughness.
It's kind of, Greg is like, yes. Cowboys put up 40 to survive an offensive explosion from Russ and the Giants. Cowboys Wire, great website, called it, quote, an instant ugly classic. Dak threw the ball 52 times. Brandon Aubrey ties it and wins it with no time on the clock. Schottenheimer gets his first win. Here's Dak.
That game was the epitome of him and his coaching style, just the resiliency he has and the way the way he carries himself, the way he coaches. The standard's the standard, and at the end of the day, that's winning. And that's what this game, the end of it was. And credit to him. We're behind him. He deserved that first win. Tough one to get. Fun one to get. Very fun one to get. And I know he'll never forget it. I won't forget it. I'm sure every guy in that locker room won't forget this one.
Brou, week 1 for the Cowboys, they lost to the champs, and you had a long soliloquy and gave them a B. So here was an offensive explosion. Professor Broussard, what is this week's grade for the Cowboys?
I hate to rain on somebody's parade. All right, but look, nobody thinks the Giants are any good except Coach. All right, so I mean, Coach, let's keep it real. All right, you gave up how many points? 37 points to a team that scored 6. What did we think might be Washington's weakness this
It's
year?
defense.
The defense.
Yeah.
They held them to 6.
Wow.
Russ, not only did Russ leap into the time machine, but the Cowboys drove the time machine to him, opened the door, Russ, get in and go back 10 years. I mean, that was bad. Look, but Coach knows this better than anybody. A win in the NFL is a win in the NFL. I don't take that away from them at all. Maybe they could have won last week and lost this week. So 1-1 is good. That's what the plus is for, to win. It's a C+. I can't go overboard. You almost lost at home to the Giants.
We got beat last week and they lost.
Hold on. Were they not more impressive last week against the Eagles in losing than they were in beating the Giants?
Hey, it's not the scoreboard.
Brandon Aubrey was
He's
a
phenomenal.
triple plus. And the fact that Brian Schottenheimer, after just a few months around Brandon Aubrey, is like, yeah, listen, it's now, what if we don't get any yards, what is it from here, 67?
Yeah.
All right, we're safely in range.
Good.
Let's just run a draw play and send him out there. Is remarkable testament to him. Dak was great. CD did bounce back. Coach, thank God they didn't have Mike out there, or else they might have given up more than 84 yards rushing. Am I right, guys? Because I would give the Cowboys offense an A+, the defense an F, special teams an A, and so you end up with C+. Problem is this: the guy who owns the team gets you're kicked out of school for how this season's looked through 2 games. I understand we cannot judge trades for draft picks until you see what the draft picks come back as. And that would be fine if the guy who owned the team didn't tell us, oh, no. This is not just for draft picks. Right. This is for right now. This is for help us today. And I watch what Micah Parsons looks like on the Packers and what the Cowboys defense looks like, really in conjunction with what the Cowboys offense looks like. And I'm like, I think 2 things. One is Micah was holding that whole thing together with Scotch tape by himself defensively. And the other one is, man, if the Cowboys still had that guy, even though I didn't believe in them going into this year, they could have been really good. Yep. And you punted on it. And so I'd give them, if the owner gets an F, then everybody's grade drops. But I agree with you in general, Brou.
Okay, so you're giving the owner an F. Now, he did hire Brian Schottenheimer, and everybody said that was a terrible hire. What the worst hire in the world. How could you ever do it? He looks pretty good compared to the other rookie head coaches. I mean, I think the team's played okay. I mean, he did make that hire, but whatever. With the kicker, here's what I'd say to Jerry. I don't know what his cap situation is or where his contract is. Extend him. Like, send him right now.
That's right.
That guy is incredible. And you can. Micah would have helped in this game. I agree. However, last week they did hold Saquon Barkley to his lowest average since he's had in 17 games. I know we're disregarding that aspect of it.
I got to tell you, I was glad you weren't here that week.
I know we're disregarding that part of it, and I really appreciate the excitement that Dallas has generated. I think they've showed a ton of resilience yesterday. That could have easily been a game in the past that they lost. And you've got to give them some credit for them being able to pull out that win. And as much as not me, but you want to kill the Cowboys for winning, you still have to give them credit for finding a way to win in a game that was very unpredictable from both sides.
Cowboys-Bears coming up, so that'll, if they can get to 2-1.
They're supposed to beat the Bears now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Bears are.
Right now, everybody's supposed to beat the Bears. Luckily, that's Danny Parkin's problem.
By the way,
Day.
Coach, he has dropped Caleb like a bad habit.
Oh, I know.
Like
He's so quick.
Brew went to Baltimore for this game.
Trevor and Caleb.
Trevor, he's
Brew and
kinda
we all hung out with the mayor of Kansas City. Brew hung out with the mayor of Baltimore. Mayor of Philadelphia, you better call Kevin Wiles.
Governor of Baltimore.
He did both.
Governor of
Brew-
America.
A message from McAfee.
I'd say howdy, but I'm not a real cowboy.
And I'm not a real alien.
We're deep fakes, and because of fakes like us,
It's hard to tell what's real.
unless you have McAfee. McAfee's scam detector automatically identifies text and email scams.
And even deep fakes.
And it works everywhere, even out on the range.
But you're not even a real cowboy.
If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
Ravens put up
good
40
point, Drew.
yet again. They get to 1-1. Defense hounded Flacco in his homecoming. Another day at the office for Lamar. 4 touchdowns, 129 passer rating. Brew, you were at the Baltimore Stadium to watch this game.
Yes,
like what
shout
you
out
saw.
to Governor Westmore. He invited me to watch the game with him. There he is right there in the box. Great experience, great dude. He's big. He's built like
I was about
Greg
to say,
Jennings.
that guy
He's like a
throws
bigger version
hands-
of Greg
put hands
Jennings.
on you, bro.
Yeah. But they, I was talking to him about the game, and when they went up 20-3, I said to him, I can't wait to see the fourth quarter. Because I was I've said last week, you got 17 weeks to get your act together as far as blowing leads. And yesterday was a good test because 2 years ago, they were up like 17 or 14 on the Browns in the fourth quarter and lost.
To the
To the Browns,
yeah.
the Ravens. So yesterday was great. They didn't start that well. They were slow getting going.
Browns'
but then,
mistakes
helped
gave
them
the
just
Ravens
turn it
a
into a route.
cushion.
But they helped. They protected the lead and built on it. So that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, I didn't love the fact that this was their celebration of their move to Baltimore. I thought it was
30-year celebration.
And they played
little
the Browns.
30-year, little disrespectful, seeing that the team came from Cleveland. I was part of that first Ravens staff, so I appreciate how far they've come. When you look at this game, I didn't think the score was going to be anywhere near as lopsided as it was, but there's so many good things that the Ravens did outside of offensively, because Derrick Henry really didn't have any production at all. Lamar Jackson running the ball really didn't have any production at all. But you get a block punt, that sets up a score. You get the pick down to the 5, that sets up a score. You throw successfully, consistently against tight man-to-man coverage. I thought that was really positive as well. And I really like the mayor of Maryland as well. I didn't know he got his own box. That's a pretty good perk. That's a nice thing,
One of the perks.
All right, I think this was a sneaky, wildly important game for Baltimore. And I actually like that they were able to do what they did without Derrick Henry doing what he did in week 1. As great as Derrick Henry is, I don't want to say it's not sustainable for Derrick Henry to rip off these 30-yard runs. He's been doing it for a decade. But it feels like you can't, build that into your game plan. And so the fact that Henry had, I'll just go ahead and mark it down,
yards.
what will be his worst game of the year. And they didn't start off incredibly hot, and they found other ways to impact the game, I thought was encouraging. I think the fact that Jair Alexander was healthy-ish scratch, he wasn't listed on the injury report, but he didn't dress, but they're like, it is injury-related, I can totally understand. And the other guys in the secondary stepped up, I think is important because you guys know going into the year, I'd said I don't think you can rely on Jair Alexander to be an impact guy. So that part was good. I also have not an announcement to make, but
Here we go.
a preview.
He's a Ravens
so to
guy.
speak. No, I'm not a Ravens guy. What day is tomorrow, KW?
I don't know.
Tuesday.
Thank you, Brew.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
What happens on Tuesdays?
Mahomes Mountain, obviously.
We could have a little movement at the
Thank
very
you.
top.
Can I show you a graphic?
We could. Listen, let me just
I have
You
something
saw
that's
last the
blow your
little
mind.
thing he pulled last
No.
week to
Yes.
keep Mahomes.
Yeah,
at
but
the
it was.
top.
But listen,
I still
Lamar.
don't
It is
understand
during the
that.
regular season over the last few years. Lamar has proven statistically he's the best quarterback in the league in the regular season. And from a winning perspective, only Mahomes has been better over the last few years. And now it's, you know what I mean? Mahomes' team 0-2. So go ahead, KW.
This is from NFL on CBS Twitter's account. I saw this, I was like, that's a pretty efficient statistic. Lamar is currently the all-time leader in NFL history in passer rating, and he also has the most rushing yards.
Yeah.
And then from next gen, all 4 of his touchdowns in this game were over 10 air yards. He leads the league in touchdowns over 10 air yards.
Like this year or just like
since the start of last year. He's got 34. Burrow's in second, has 22. Wow. So this idea that's like, Lamar, he's a hybrid quarterback, but not a true passer. I feel like that narrative is so stale at this point, and the numbers are starting to become so overwhelmingly in his favor.
I think he is a hybrid quarterback in the best way imaginable.
Yeah.
And I think part of what lends to his success as a passer is that people are still so terrified of him as a runner. You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit of both.
My favorite, though, the DeAndre Hopkins touchdown, to me, I thought was impressive.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a really good sign for Baltimore as well. If Hopkins keeps producing like that, I mean, I thought that was a great throw and a great catch against press man-to-man. And I think he might have changed the call at the line of scrimmage when they saw press coverage. It seemed like it. Not 100% sure.
And Hopkins, by the way, would have had another deep touchdown, but he was ruled down at the inch line.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, Hopkins has now made 3 huge plays for the Ravens, which is 2 more than he made in his year in Kansas City.
Ravens host the Lions Monday night. How worried should the Chiefs be? That's next. The top of the hour, first things first. Live from New York, it's the show that told you to believe in Mac Jones. You okay with that one?
Well, sure, today, yeah.
That's right. Second hour of First Things First. Coach out here grinding tape. Today, too much tush push? Is this the beginning of the end for the most efficient play in all of football?
Just officiate it correctly. That's all.
Cry about it. You can't have this take.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you in a second. Meanwhile, what did the Cowboys prove in their explosive win over the Giants? And why did Coach spend so much of our valuable airtime convincing us that the Giants' defense was going to be great? Some of us went out to FanDuel.
We're DraftKings.
Sorry. I went out to FanDuel and said, I'm not going here. I'm going to DraftKings.
Only game 2.
Meanwhile, right now we're talking about the Chiefs. They dropped to 0-2. Mahomes loses 3 straight for the first time in his career. Last time the Chiefs were 0-2, 2014.
Yeah, Andy's first year.
The last 6 times they were 0-2, they missed the playoffs.
Okay, that means.
Well, Fox NFL tweeted it, and I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Here's Andy Reid.
Brody Croyle was the quarterback. Go.
I'll take full responsibility for that game. Probably say too aggressive on that, and that's my responsibility. It's important against that crew that just stay aggressive. I probably could dial up some different things there, but I think against them you've got to do that.
Dial it up. What's wrong with the Chiefs?
Right now, a handful of things. And this isn't a spot you want to be in. Week 1, I said the thing that concerned me was their overall pass defense, inability to generate a pass rush, and ability to, cover on the back end. I can't really even definitively say if they got better at that this week because Philly was not interested in throwing the ball down the field at all. So I don't know, was that because guys recovered or it's just not what they want to do? And the way they generated a pass rush this game was send everybody. You know what I mean? Which actually has been a pretty decent strategy against the Philly offense specifically, but against other quarterbacks, that can really burn you. So that, that's a concern. I think right now, for reasons I don't totally understand, they have the least effective running game in the league. Just like if you remove, and the numbers totally back that up if you remove Patrick running.
Yeah.
So they have been, and I hate seeing Patrick run the ball in September. Never seen it, don't want to see it. Part of what I think has made him, part of what makes him so special is that he always has, one of the reasons, let me put it like this, he gets so much better in the playoffs, even though he's been so good in regular seasons, is he's had this thing in his back pocket all year that he saves for the playoffs. He is now activating it because what he is seeing is we're not having any success moving the ball otherwise. So that's a short list, and I could go deeper. Do I think it all gets fixed by Rice and Worthy coming back? Worthy first and then Rice? No, I don't think that all gets fixed. Do I think a lot of that gets fixed by that? Yes, I do. And do I think that there is the silver lining, if you will, is I think that the Chiefs have played poorly overall in huge stretches of both of these games. And yesterday's game, I think they should have won if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. And week 1, they could have stolen. You know what I mean? And so, that's where I'm at on it. But this isn't a team right now that looks scary. What's scary about them is who they are and the fact that they play in the Super Bowl every year, and they're still holding a Super Bowl this year. But right now, it's fair to criticize them from that performance because that was a winnable game at home that they wanted. And again, it's disrespectful to Philly say they gave it away, but it was in the balance. You could have taken it, and they didn't take it.
Yeah, I think it's way too early to write the Chiefs' obituary, and let's be realistic about this game.
Thanks.
So first of all, the first 2 games they've lost by a combined 7 points.
Yeah, great point.
Against a playoff team and against the defending Super Bowl champions. Okay, in this last game, they miss a field goal early by Butker, so that's 3 points. They get stopped on 4th and 1, which then leads to a field goal at the end of the half. So there's another 3 points. Kelsey drops the ball. That's in the red zone, gets returned to the 40. That leads to a touchdown. That's a 10-point swing. They can't run the ball. We've talked about that. That's something that can be improved. They're going to have to commit to it more than they have, and I think they should commit to it more than they have because he's getting pressured 12 times the first week and 11 times this past week. Okay, that's the level that Mahomes has been pressured, which is one of the higher rates in the league. But to me, the biggest problem is on 3rd down. They're 26th in the league right now on 3rd down conversions, which, again, it's addressable. It's fixable. Do I think they're going to be top 5 in 3rd down? No, but they can be a lot better than they are.
Even last year when the offense struggled, the one place they were great was 3rd down.
Yeah, so it's not like they don't know how to do it. It's not like they haven't been successful at it. They're not doing it very well right now. So as much as everybody is hoping and dreaming that the Chiefs are dead, they played 2 really good teams. They lost 2 one-score games, which historically they've won, but that's not a sustainable formula. The fact that they won that many games in a row, to me, is amazing. So you better hope that you can kill them before they get to the playoffs, because if this team gets in the playoffs, we can say what they want, but you don't want that dude lining up in the playoffs because you're in trouble.
I'd also like them to force a turnover. It's been a while since the Chiefs forced a turnover, which would be helpful. Go ahead, Coach.
No, I agree, Coach. I mean, I think they're still going to make the playoffs and are a contender for the Super Bowl. So I think they're fine in that regard. But I think their biggest problem right now has been and you guys mentioned offensive things.
Yeah.
Like the defense obviously wasn't great in the first week, but they gave up 27 points. Like you can win when you hold a team to 27 points, particularly if you got Mahomes and Kelsey. Then yesterday they held them to 20 points. Like, so the offense just hasn't been what we've expected or what we thought. Like, we're talking about light show. It obviously hadn't been close to that. And I got to say it, I don't think Mahomes is playing well throwing the ball. He's playing well overall because of his running. Like, he's running well, but most of his great plays are runs. The second throw, the touchdown to Tyquan Thornton was good, but obviously he missed him before that. And these are Mahomes' ranks right now, stats and ranks in the league as far as passing. Like, I mean, that's just completely un-Patrick Mahomes. Like, even last year. Like, last year's numbers were way better than that. And we know he came into this season like it's going to be different now.
And we also recognize that the Chargers were one of the best teams defensively in the NFL last season.
They were the best team last year.
And Philadelphia was one of the best teams in the NFL last season. So
no,
it's not like he's playing against.
No,
but he is.
But he is
Mahomes.
And
like
he also,
we
to Bruce's point, missed his first real pass of the game to Noah Gray. Yep. Missed the one wide open Tyquan Thornton that you get over it because he then made it to Tyquan Thornton, but that still cost him 40 seconds. Listen, I thought he played really, Brou and I kind of disagreed on this, I guess. I thought he played really well in week 1. I thought, yes.
But wasn't his running?
Yes,
like, I think his run, and I get it, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
But I think he's been running it really well. I don't think he's been throwing it that
what
way.
I was going to say is I thought in week 2, I thought he had some moments, but didn't play as well as he did in week 1.
I think for the first time in a long time, Patrick Mahomes was pressing. I think that game was really important to him. And the reason that he ran the ball the way he did yesterday and lowered his shoulders was because of how important that game was to him. And typically nothing good comes from when you press. But he wanted to avoid the 3-game losing streak. He wanted to avenge the Super Bowl loss. The game was at home. For the first time in a long time, I watched a game where I thought, oh, he's pressing, and that's not who he is. He doesn't need to.
So that might be the answer that I was looking for on the Tyquan Thornton miss. I don't think when you look at his stats that every miss is the same. I felt like this Tyquan Thornton miss was a quarterback throwing the ball that I just don't recognize. The old Mahomes, and we have the graphics and the long shots.
It makes it 1,000 out of 1,000 times.
Yeah, like he always hits that. And then a few plays later, he did hit it. But this one struck me as just strange. So maybe, and I was looking for an answer, and maybe it's pressing. Otherwise, like, what started floating? Like, is he hurt? Like, those are the first thing when people start to do uncharacteristic
you're
stuff.
saying
like,
with him running now. I mean, that's
in
the same ballpark.
I think he's frustrated.
But Nick talked about it. He typically runs in the playoffs when it's crucial.
Yeah.
And that's why when I saw him run as much as he did and do the things he did when he was running with the ball, it felt like this game to him is more important than most of the regular season games that he plays.
3 games, your running backs, our running backs, beloved.
Yeah.
120 yards in the last 3 games, including the Super Bowl.
But this year, he's their leading rusher by 76 yards.
Yeah. I mean,
nobody else has 50 yards.
And nobody can have a long run. Like, no, that part's really frustrating. With all that said, and I'm curious, like, KW.
Yeah.
I won't use this against you in the future,
Definitely
I promise.
Yeah, you will.
I felt that entire game that Kansas City was going to win until the Kelce interception. That's unfair to Travis. The interception off. It was the Mahomes interception. You guys understand that? In that moment, I'm like, oh my God, they're not. But like the pacing of it was, to me, felt like a lot of Chiefs games last year where it was like they don't look, you know what I mean? They don't look good, but they're going to find a way to be right there. What I wanted to ask you was, as someone who had a lot of take capital built up in this game and all of it, did you feel the opposite?
I never felt like the Chiefs were going to win.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It's weird. And that's like a lot of, I know this is not like savvy analysis, but it reminds me of like, and I want to be like, hey, this fighter can still knock you out. Like, it didn't feel like a little supernatural funky.
I was similar to that. I felt the Chiefs, I was a little surprised it was that close. I picked it being 10 in the blowout.
I never felt like the Eagles were stressed.
I thought the Chiefs had a chance. Like, I was like, okay, they're right there. But I felt confident the Eagles were going to win that game.
Lots of tush pushing in the game. Eagles ran the play 11% of the time. Chris Jones was not happy. Here he was after the game on the tush push. Take a listen.
Sometimes can't get them all the calls right. And just because we see it, sometimes the official is 15, 20 feet away. Sometimes he can miss those small things. And we think he jumped multiple times. So an official didn't see it, so it wasn't called. And, we just got to go play the next down.
All right, listen. You guys know I have, for the 8 years of this show, I don't complain about officiating. And I'm not complaining about officiating. The Chiefs lost that game because the greatest tight end I've ever seen and a universally regarded top 3 tight end ever dropped a ball. And by the way, that he dropped a ball in week 1, says he ran the wrong route in week 1, Xavier got hurt. It's been a rough opening season for that. You guys also know that well before the Eagles were the Chiefs' rival, well before they had played in any Super Bowls, well, certainly years before they had ever beaten the Chiefs in a Super Bowl, I've hated this play.
True.
I have said I think that it's not a football play. It's bad for TV. Roger Goodell agrees with me. 22 of the 31 other teams in the league agree with me. We now know Tom Brady seems to agree with me, and Dean Blandino definitely agrees with me. What I would ask of the league is if there is a play that is controversial enough that you have two separate votes on whether or not you should allow it, and more than half of your league says no, make sure you're not only allowing it, but allowing them to run that play with more leniency in the rules than any other play of the game.
Sure.
The center is not allowed to have his entire shoulders and head in front of the ball any snap of the game, except for the Eagles when they run the tush push. Guards, you get a false start for being a tackle that does this. Guards firing off the ball a half second before the play is not allowed in any play of the game except this. And it is already hard enough to stop. Where it becomes impossible to stop is when it is run that way. And I think that's the frustration. And I do think, Coach, that because Brady pointed it out and then Blandino talked about it, that we might see for the first time in years referees properly officiate this play, which we just haven't seen done.
Well, the fact that the commissioner doesn't want it and they were so close on the vote before, what's going to get this out of here is the officiating angle. Yeah. Is because now people are saying this is too hard to officiate. So it's not going to be that this is an unfair advantage for the Eagles or that the Eagles run it really well so everybody else complains about it because they can't stop it. The angle is going to be it's too hard of a play to officiate, so therefore we have to move on from it. And that's how I think they're going to end up killing it.
That's a far better angle than initially. I thought strategically it was the wrong play, or like it's a safety issue. And like, well, here's the data on the safety. And so you can't,
this
that
angle
ground is gone. But that angle, I felt like there was another play where like it's too hard to officiate. I wish I remember
the officiating angle is how.
But that will work as a strategy.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, yesterday was the first. I mean, I didn't like when the playoff game last year,
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, when
Frankie
the guy
Luvo
kept
was just jumping over.
I mean, that was a bad look.
And the referee had to be like, "We will award a touchdown for a palpably unfair act."
Scolding the team.
So that was a bad look.
Yeah.
This was a bad look. Usually, I'm like, look. If you can't stop them, but you stop the Bills when they do it, you stop whoever else when they do it, then you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't eliminate it just because the Eagles do it so well. But I agree with Coach and Nick. Like, yesterday was a bad look. It's tough to officiate. And also it's tough. Some of the other players are like this at times. But where the ball, I thought Hurts scored the first time, but who knows?
It
you can't tell.
Yep.
So
and
it's
the
so
Chiefs
hard
thought
to
he
measure.
fumbled at the end, and you can't tell. But again, like if
I'm surprised more defensive linemen haven't fired off early and just blown up the center. Like multiple times, just blown up the center
and then
to the point where they're like, "Oh, I thought he snapped it."
Yeah,
because
they're trying to punch the ball.
Well, I'm just saying on the goal.
But
on
he's
the goal
saying
line
on the goal line, there's no
penalty for it. They move it up a half an inch.
Yeah,
so I'm surprised they just don't keep blowing it up.
Tell you why I thought that it's an inopportune time for you to say this.
Whatever you want.
When we were in Kansas City, you did an excellent job.
Oh, thanks.
And you did an excellent job specifically in getting the crowd riled up.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, sure. And one of his applause lines was like, "Sorry, but they don't change the rules like they do with the Bills." It was
no,
a
but
great
this
line.
is but the Chiefs aren't the ones pushing for this.
But
the Eagles were the Packers were the ones pushing for this.
Yes.
And I think the Chiefs were one of the 22 teams that voted against it. I would agree with you. I don't want the NFL to ban it tomorrow. Like, I don't want them after this game to ban it. What I'm saying is...
He just wants them to ban it before the next time.
Listen. I wanted them to ban it immediately. I just think the Brou disagrees with me on it. I think it needs to be banned in large part for the two reasons of if everybody got good at it, it takes away one of the most exciting plays in football. Right. And if the Eagles got better at it And instead of getting 2 yards every time, they got 4. And they just, like, it is on the board that the Eagles have done that. Like, they have a tush push variant that's the same exact thing, and they get 4 yards on it. And they're waiting for the playoffs.
Well,
like,
they
right,
did it
what are you
more.
gonna do?
I thought yesterday they did it more than I usually recall. And they did it on third down. You know, you're doing third, then we got fourth.
Because the offense wasn't really effective yesterday.
Yeah, so that's what
rubbing
it gets
dirt in the wound. Just,
Yeah.
We're going to bully you.
Last week, the story about the Lions' offense was that, you know what? Against the Packers, looked like they missed Ben Johnson. This week, not so much. Lions put up 52 points on their old OC and celebrated by mocking one of his famous play designs. Brian Brandt said the Lions were personally motivated. Take a listen.
Very motivated. We know coming into this game that this is personal. Really, all these games personals. But this one was just, we felt like we've been, betrayed from the staff to the players. And, we love Ben. We still love Ben. He's a great, coach. He's a great mastermind. But, yeah, it was time to get out there. He could have went anywhere else, but he got to see us again.
What was the bigger story here? Lions win or the Bears loss?
Listen, Bears loss is a real big problem for first things first Bears and Caleb guy Danny Parkins. But that's not my problem.
I told you, Coach.
This is not my problem anymore. The bigger story is the Lions getting their swagger back, at least temporarily. I don't think the Bears falling to 0-2 ends their season. I think that if you thought the way, I think that people thought the Bears were going to lose when the schedule came out. We thought the Bears were going to lose this game, and you know what I mean. And so I don't think that ends their season. And I actually thought Caleb played fine. I think he played great. I think, like we said, the Caleb this year is going to be a work in progress that you hope peaks at the end of the year. But there was real concern about Detroit, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it felt to me like that concern had gotten even to where Dan Campbell was, I don't want to say on edge, but even more, caffeinated than usual. And so the fact that they hung 50 and are able to say within the building, if there was any concern, hey, whatever effect that playoff game had on Jared, that was a one-game effect. Mm-hmm. He's now back to being Lions Jared Goff. Guess what? Ben Johnson was great for our offense, but you know what's really great for our offense? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Penei Sewell. You know what I mean? We still have those guys. And so, to me, the Lions were teetering on the, window. Yeah, they're not a real contender. And now they at least got their swagger back, so to speak. So I think it's the Lions.
Can we also all remember that the Bears last year were 5-2? They were 5-2 at the start of the season, and the first 2 games they lost were close. Yeah. And then the 6th game was the Hail Mary game. That team last year was rolling early.
They were 5-2, Coach, or 4-2?
I know they were
4-2, and they would have been without the Hail Mary.
Yeah, it would have been 5. I'm sorry. So 4-2, they would have been 5-2, and the 2 games they lost were really close games. Yeah. So they were rolling in the early part of the season. So that's a concern for me. The whole revenge angle, that's just something that they talked up in the building just to hype the guys up. I mean, the idea that you're going to get revenge because your offensive coordinator took a job to become a head coach at the opportunity that was the best for him to be successful, that's just the business.
Didn't you feel like Belichick kept on running the ball against you to stick it to you a little bit?
Yeah, he had hurt feelings about it, but again, what am I going to do? Not take a head coaching job in the division? That's the nature of pro football. Opportunities are created. Guys take opportunities. This was a great opportunity for Ben, but it is something that you'll use in the building to motivate your guys. Everybody's saying we can't do it without Ben. We can do, that's more of an angle than a real revenge factor, I think.
Yeah, I think it's big. Both stories are big. The fact, because I think all of us had the Bears in the playoffs, and they still got a shot, but I do think they're in some trouble. They're not looking like
you think they're just dead wilds?
Yeah.
I think they're close to dead. Right now, I'm not thinking they're going to make the playoffs. But I'm with Nick. I think the Detroit story is bigger. And you didn't mention this. Jared, we were bringing up Jared Goff 3-17-1 without Sean McVay or Ben Johnson calling the plays. So for him to go out and throw 5 touchdowns and I think 300-something yards is like huge for him. So that's big.
Why are the Bears just totally done?
Here are the 0-2 teams. The Jets, Giants, Dolphins, Browns, Titans, Bears, Panthers, Saints, and did I say Chiefs?
Yeah. And
a lot of those teams are bad.
Yeah, I understand, but historically,
Just not,
2 of them probably make the playoffs.
Welcome to Only Murders in the Building,
the official podcast.
Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin? No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, now streaming wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Sunday, doubleheader, Rams versus the champion Eagles. And then at 4 o'clock, America's game of the week, the 1-1 Cowboys taking on Caleb, looking for his first win this year, and the Chicago Bears. It's only on Fox. No huddle time. Put your sunglasses on. Good reminder. Max back, pillow alert. Almost 280 yards. Yes, I wrote pillow alert.
But did you write put your sunglasses on like as a note to yourself and then you read it out loud by accident?
No, I was telling people.
I was like a stage director.
A lot of times the audience is like, oh, I feel like I'm at the desk.
Oh, okay.
So if you're sitting with your sunglasses and your first, hey, Gianna, good idea. First things first, like care package, all the stuff.
Oh, nice.
Okay, just an idea.
Let's get to the topic.
San Francisco's undefeated. Let's look at that passer rating. We've been talking a lot about passer rating. I can't see it with my sunglasses.
Yeah.
113. Pretty good. What did the 49ers prove? And also, I just heard from Dusty, you can't say that because Brock's not good and it proves that Mac Jones isn't good and they won. You can't say that. So say something.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say
anything other than that.
What I was going to say is that oftentimes in sports debates, Coach, we are debating something that we can never actually prove. Yeah. We're never going to get the perfect scenario to test out our thesis.
Control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why science is better. Like you can,
Science
you can
is
set
better
up
than sports.
well, it's better to prove things, right? Serendipitously, with the San Francisco 49ers, we have gotten it. We got to see in real time what would happen if you dropped in a quarterback that Brou and I both agree and have hours of tape of us both saying is not good.
Pro Bowler.
And Brou, literally, hold on, wait, no.
Right, he won 10 games.
No, you guys,
he beat out Cam Newton.
We can do this all with smiles, but he's going to play for another month, and I very strategically and purposefully asked you, Brou, before this year started, we both agree Mac Jones is not good, right? And you were in lockstep with me. We
got the video?
No, I don't have the video right now. And what we saw was, even though he didn't even have, as we would say it, many of the Avengers at all. He had Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey, and it was enough for Mac Jones to look really good. It's almost as if, Coach, there's a lot of quarterbacks that as long as they have a starting caliber at any point in them, if you drop them into Kyle Shanahan's system and they have just enough help, they can look really good. And so, to go back to a real argument we had, it's another reason why I would have maybe waited to pay Brock Purdy, because I think you could maybe get this level of production from a guy like Mac Jones.
This is one game. Brock Purdy has done it for 3 seasons.
Well, last
Brock
season,
Purdy
he
has
didn't do
gotten
anything
a
like
team,
this.
but he did it the year before. He got him to the Super Bowl. Is Mac Jones going to be top 5 in MVP voting?
No, but is Brock Purdy ever going to be again? No,
well,
I don't think he
but he has done it.
Yeah.
Is Mac Jones going to lead them to the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think Brock Purdy led him to the Super Bowl. He was the quarterback.
He was in the Super Bowl, left the field with the lead.
Yeah.
You think Mac Jones could do that?
Well, I didn't think Brock Purdy could do that. So maybe.
And I'll give you a list of names who couldn't do it.
They weren't starters.
C.J. Beathard.
No, we're not at the
Brian Hoyer.
You got to move on.
No.
Nick Mullins.
Those guys
Trey
weren't
Lance.
starters.
Trey Lance, who you thought was all that.
Those guys weren't starters, bro.
I mean, my goodness.
I thought it was a really nice game for Mac Jones.
Thank you.
And I'm happy that he had that, and it was nice to hear his comments on it, how he got his confidence back. But to put in perspective, I imagine New Orleans is going to be in the running for the number 1 overall draft pick. And when you watch this game, at the end of the game, New Orleans had the ball with a chance to win. So it's not like they just went out and lit it up. And having Christian McCaffrey is a little bit like a cheat code because you just hit the check down and then he goes and does really good things.
You can't say thank you to that. That's the whole point.
So
Mahomes doesn't have anybody, and you see how he's looking out here. I mean, come on, you need help.
But the whole idea of the years of arguments have been that Shanahan's system plus a modicum of talent, much less an embarrassment of riches.
That's not the case.
It's just CMC.
Right, and look what he did. So imagine if he had the whole
But
crew.
no, Nick,
exactly.
your argument has been Purdy's had all this help. Everybody needs help. Mahomes has had tons of help.
And maybe,
I'm not saying he's as good as Mahomes. I'm
Maybe
just
Mac
saying.
Jones has matured, just like we saw with Sam Darnold, just like we saw with Geno Smith. These guys can get better as they stay in the league longer.
Mac Jones played well in Jacksonville last year. He and Brian Thomas clicked.
He didn't
really play that great, to be honest.
He was almost as good
San Francisco hosts the Cardinals next week.
I just 2-0 start. If Mac Jones comes in and cooks and plays really well, and that doesn't move the argument at all that maybe the system quarterback label is fair, then nothing will.
Drew Bledsoe was a great
said
quarterback.
what you wanted to see from Purdy was comebacks, adversity.
Oh, here we
go. He did that, and I had to bring out the goalpost.
We got to go to the Steelers. Steelers give up 30
You're
points.
always just looking for some way to
But we're counting
pull the dude down.
We're counting as part of those 30 points that the defense gave up one of the sillier touchdowns of the week when the Seahawks scored on their own kickoff. Rodgers did get picked off twice and says, you know what? This loss actually might have been good. Take a listen.
No, it's week 2. Come on now. Come on. It's week 2. I mean, like, it's good for us. Last week, probably there were some people who were feeling pretty good because everybody outside the building is talking about how great we were on offense and 34 points. That's the league. You can't ride the highs or ride the lows. You know, you gotta refocus every single week and be a professional.
Interesting. You buying this was a good loss?
No, I also don't listen. If people didn't watch this game, Rodgers was not as good as those numbers, and those numbers weren't good.
The numbers weren't good.
I think it was either a 46 or a 64-yarder to I think Jalen Warren that provides the lion's share of that. It was a lot of nothing, and he once again got hit a fair amount. Like you guys mentioned, he threw the picks, and they need Rodgers to be quite good. And because I think we now have 2 games of evidence that they're not going to have a top, let's just call it 5 defense in the NFL this year.
Yes.
I think that, and again, you're right. They have 24 points. You know what I mean? The 7 on the kickoff is not on the defense at all. It's not on anyone on the team except for the kid who forgot it was a live ball. But still, the defense has not been impactful in either of these 2 games. And in my opinion, they've played 2 offenses that are likely to be not in the top 15. Like the Jets offense is not going to be very good. I think the Seahawks are going to be a defensive-minded team. You know what I mean? So, no, I do not buy that this is good for the Pittsburgh Steelers at all.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's good. I thought Rodgers, too, I thought he kind of threw Calvin Austin under the bus. Did you see that?
Young kid?
Here's the comment on the interception in the end zone. Here's what Rodgers said.
Cal is the best kid ever, but he probably should have just stayed in the flat there. He knows it. I mean, or he was kind of stealing it from Pat, or just catch it, put it away, score a touchdown. But Cal's the best kid, and it sucks because he's such a great kid. But unfortunately, that whole sequence, took points off the board.
You hated that?
I mean, look, I don't know what but it looks like Calvin Austin was in the way. I'm just saying, do you have to bring that up? You know what I mean?
I'm
publicly.
so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because it takes it wasn't my fault. It was his fault. But you're saying it in a way like he's such a great kid.
I think it is his fault.
But do you have to say it publicly?
So I went through and I read Aaron's comments. I'm like, oh, these are actually really good comments. He was talking about how they can do better on early downs, and it could be him. It could be, one guy in the old line. It could be, and I'm like, oh, okay, these are all very reasonable. And then he started talking about, hey, that Cal, he's a great kid. Let me tell you how great he is, but it was also his fault and not my fault. So I agree with you. I really was hoping that he was going to go through a whole comment range without throwing anybody under the bus. But the problem they have, Rodgers under pressure was 3 for 11 for 36 yards, 1 pick, a 2.8 passer rating with 3 sacks. So when that happens, it's like sharks to blood in the NFL. So if you have a problem with something, everybody goes after it until you prove that you can fix it. And so now when you're starting to throw these numbers out, he's been sacked 7 times in 2 games, which is the 4th most. So that problem is going to continue to be given to him until he shows he can make you pay for it.
Guess who leads the league in sacks?
Tell me.
Patriots.
Is that who they play next?
Yes. Steelers and Foxborough. So it'll be interesting if they can solve that, but the Patriots been getting after it.
Listen, if I'm the Steelers, I have seen concerning signs, things that would worry me about Rodgers' ability to make it through the season in both games.
Oh, that's
even the game where they scored a bunch of points and Rodgers was throwing the ball great. He is just getting hit a ton. He is.
And it's an O-line thing or a Rodgers mobility thing?
I think it's both. You know what I mean? I don't think they have a great O-line. I also think that Aaron.
Probably Calvin's fault.
I mean, I think it's a combination of all those. And I think that there's also a slight element of Aaron not fully realizing or accepting that he's not as escapable as he once was. You know what I mean? Like, it's all of those things. And the Calvin Austin thing, the only part about that I really didn't like was, like, what's the threshold for NFL, like how long you've been in the league or how old you are, to where being called a kid repeatedly is insulting? Because when I looked it up during the comment, I was like, man, I thought Calvin Austin was like a veteran player, and he's 26. So that was the other
but compared to
I understand. So maybe that's what it is.
A kid.
But
I just don't think you need to bring that. Just take it yourself.
Just be like,
Patrick, when he was asked about the Kelsey interception, just was like,
right.
I threw a bad ball.
Which was
I needed to have the ball lower and closer.
In a meeting, Brou was calling me a kid the other day.
Well, that makes sense.
A great kid or just a kid?
He's like, oh, Wild's a good kid. He hosts the show. I was like, wow, thanks, Brou.
Really a great kid.
Veteran leadership. Guess what? Tomorrow it's the frostiest segment
We've been
in all
promised
sports.
Intrigue, too.
We're going to get intrigue.
I
don't know.
Somehow.
We're going to get intrigue. Josh was at the top alongside Patrick, basically.
Well,
and he didn't, he didn't have a monster game.
I know, but
I also think he got his
points.
nose broken and just fought through it. He doesn't deserve to drop. I understand.
No, Josh is up. Jalen Hurts?
Come on, bro.
Come on, champ.
What if Herbert
Top
is
dog
awesome
performance sponsored by Good and Fun. You gotta let the dogs dog, you know what I mean? Doubleheader night. Bucs, Texans, Chargers at Raiders. A lot of times you're like, Wilds, why don't you give me a straight up who you got? No, not today. Who can prove they're real Super Bowl contenders with a W tonight?
One of my Super Bowl picks is in there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would power rank these as Super Bowl contenders as Bucs, legitimate contenders.
Yep.
Chargers, potential contenders. Texans, unlikely, and Raiders, unlikely contenders. Well, Texans, unlikely contenders. Raiders, even though I believe in them, think they make the playoffs, they're not. I don't think they can have a Super Bowl shot. That's how I would do it. But I think the Bucs already are Super Bowl contenders. I think the Chargers, with a great win, would be elevated to that space. That's what I would say.
The Raiders are a cute story. They're not a contender.
Bru's literally going to be sleeping on the Raiders tonight. That's a 10 p.m. start.
10 p.m.
I think the only Super Bowl contender playing tonight is the Chargers. I think the Buccaneers are good, really good. I think they're dangerous, somewhat dangerous team in the NFC. I don't think they can make the Super Bowl.
You don't think the Bucs have earned more respect than the Chargers? The Bucs have been in the playoffs and won playoff games. I just don't think they have. Yeah, I don't think they're as good of a team. I think the Eagles and the Packers are definitely better. Now, I like the Ravens and Bills. Yeah. But I really respect Harbaugh's coaching and how he gets teams to be contenders pretty much right away. He did it San Francisco, and I think he's done it here. I'm not picking them to get out of AFC, but I think they're a legit contender. I don't think the Bucs, and Houston's not a contender. They're a playoff team. They're a playoff
The Chargers have the Mahomes bump, that what we saw in week one in Brazil. Like, okay, that was one of the best games I've ever seen Justin Herbert play. If he follows it up again with a confident performance, So are we getting? Did Justin Herbert make the leap?
Sure. And listen, nothing would make Danny happier than that. I think both underdogs win tonight. I think Tampa goes to Houston and wins the early game. I think the Raiders at home win the late game.
Is that at home against the Chargers? No.
How many?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good question, Brou. Because Raiders won in week 1 and Genty did nothing. Right. And the Chargers.
I think he's got a strong 41 yards.
Wow, Brou is out on Ashton Genty.
No, he get 40.
It's more the O-line. But
66 and a half from Hubbs, who's a Raiders fan and a bit of a.
No, he's saying that's what the line is. No, I mean Hubbs is a gambler.
More first things first. Overtime coming right up at 5 o'clock. I'm going to scribble something.
I'll take over Genty 66 and a half.
Over.
I'll take the under.
Live from New York. It's the show that's still just basking. And I mean basking. Feet up. You know what I have? Cucumbers on my eyes and cotton balls in between my toes. Out there getting a pedicure, basking. Look at, on the Italian Riviera.
What are you basking in?
Classic 2. Eventually right. Mac Jones is back to being a starting quarterback.
You just buried Brock Purdy? Oh, you're saying Brock comes back, but Mac plays well enough that he gets a job
Wiles
elsewhere.
is 2 games away from being like, you don't want to break momentum.
I thought Purdy
he wins 3 in a row.
If Mac Jones Purdy more strenuously than me against Nick.
It's mostly an anti-Nick thing. Mac Jones is where my loyalties lie. Parkins picks, perfect. Hello,
thank you.
We're about to discuss today.
You went 3-0?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't know?
Dog.
I went 3-0.
Yeah.
You didn't get my text?
It wasn't a good weekend for Nick's picks.
Sending voice memos?
No,
if I remember
people like that, though.
Yeah.
Was the Steelers
So now you're
win?
back in front, huh?
That's right. It was 1 week, bro.
Things are coming back to the norm.
Steelers loss actually good. Aaron Rodgers says maybe. Meanwhile, were the Lions just trying to win or actually looking for revenge against Ben Johnson, one of the smartest coordinators maybe in the history of football turned head coach? How those 4th and 1s goes, guys? I missed them.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Even Danny Parkins sent me the response. I didn't see it. There was 9 good games on at 1 o'clock. I'm not Scott Hansen, but right now, Parkins' picks were perfect.
Thank you.
Teams where he did radio were not, although I think Syracuse might have won. Chiefs fall to 0-2. The Bears also lost. Chiefs winless, okay? Alongside the following teams. The Jets, the Giants, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Titans, the Bears, the Panthers, and the Saints. That's
Only
the company
one of
you
those
keep.
teams is good, and that's the Chiefs.
That's one way to look at it. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
Well, obviously, we've never been 0-2, but we've had times where we've dealt with challenges before and lost games. And so I think the guys that we have in this locker room, they'll go back to work with that mindset of we're going to continue to work even harder so that when we step on that field this next time, we can find a way to win in those big moments like we have it this first 2 weeks.
Panic time? Anybody?
No.
It's not panic time. But you said last week, if they lose, margin of victory. Margin of error, excuse me, shrinks.
Yes. Margin of victory also was that was last year.
It has been the problem. But, like, they're a 5-point favorite against the Giants.
In New York. It should be a 10-point favorite at Arrowhead. I'll take it.
I'm like, getting late early?
Getting late early.
Who knows? But what happened last year for the Chiefs is just, it's not sustainable. And this is the other side of it. Last year, they won every one-score game. They won every close game. And this year, it's flipping. Like, we could show the history of it. what had been going on for 2 years was historic. This is how the rest of the NFL lives. You don't win one-score games. And then when you score less than 21 points, normally you lose. They had a winning record the last 2 years, which is insane when they score that number of points. This year, they lose both those games. So I think this is just how the rest of the NFL lives. I think they'll be fine. They'll get Rashee Rice back. They'll get Xavier Worthy back. They'll be the team that come January, they're in the playoffs as like the 5 seed, and we'll be like, well, no one wants to play the Chiefs. They're a dangerous team. Like, that's probably where this goes in 3 or 4 months. But for now, it's tenuous.
Okay, so I don't agree it's tenuous. And I agree that they literally had the longest streak of consecutive wins in one-score games in the history of the league. So I agree that was not sustainable. I don't know what the league average record is in games you score under 21. I don't think 9-8 when you score under 21.
It's a losing record.
Yeah, but I don't think that's that out of line. I bet the league on average wins 40% of those games, and the Chiefs winning 53%. What was out of line was the one-score game results, and that's totally fair. Now, I will tell you what I am concerned about, what I'm not concerned about. I am concerned about the running game. I don't know why that's going to get better. I don't think Pacheco has not been the same player since he broke his leg. It sucks. He was a great story as 7th-round pick. He just hasn't been the same. And Kareem Hunt is excellent at getting you a yard. Like, no, for real. He is a short yard. I know he failed on it one time yesterday, but I trust him in 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, he is going to get it. But he hasn't had an explosive run since he got to the Chiefs. You know what I mean? He just doesn't have that in him anymore. And so that is a spot of the team that they decided not to really address this offseason. That seems to have not thus far worked out.
Well, they signed Elijah Mitchell. He hasn't had a carry yet. They gave him like $2 million, and then Javonte Williams for the Cowboys. They gave him $3 million.
Yeah,
he's got 3 touchdowns and 150 yards.
Javonte has looked good.
Javonte's looked
great.
Really good.
I like what I'm saying.
Bru's always been quiet. Brew was quietly a fan. So I think that's not going to get better. I think that there is the inability to get a pass rush without sending a blitz is concerning, and that has to get better. Mm-hmm. Now, that is something that historically the Chiefs have gotten better with over the course of the year, so I think that will get better. I also think Josh Simmons' left tackle has actually been really good. He has not allowed a pressure yet. It feels to me like Mahomes is not yet fully comfortable in the pocket as if he has a good left tackle. You know what I mean? And so he seems like he is getting rid of the ball maybe quicker than he needs to. And he needs to be, to your point, Brew, I think better as a passer, even though he's been far and away the best part of their offense. But last year, the Baltimore Ravens were 0-2 with a loss to the Raiders. The Los Angeles Rams were 0-2 last year. We didn't panic about either one of them. And
you're moving the goalposts, though. You don't want to be compared to the Rams. You've always said the Chiefs are in this other category. The Chiefs are held to their own standard.
Yeah, correct.
He's been known to do that.
No, hold on. I am. Last year, Brew's Super Bowl pick, the Baltimore Ravens, started 0-2, and at no point did Brew or I say, all right.
But we were like, this Cowboys game is a real must-win.
Oh, well, that's a different question. If you're asking me, do they have to win in Week 3? Yes.
A little bit of nervousness.
Absolutely, they have to win in Week 3, in part because of who they're playing, but also because they're 0-2. Yes, but I think it would be irrational to panic for 2 one-score losses against 2 good teams when you're not whole. Like, I think it'd be silly to panic for those reasons.
Yeah, we all are in agreement. No, not time to panic. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a tough out. They're a Super Bowl contender, all that. But I'm wondering why aren't we seeing Patrick Mahomes, the Patrick Mahomes we all grew to love. I get that you don't have Tyreek and it's not, a light show and all that stuff. But I don't think he's thrown it very well. He's run it really well, and I think that's why he's playing well. But to your point earlier, they only gave up 20 points yesterday. You should be able to win that game. 27, Herbert was throwing it all over the field, but still, you only gave up 27 points. You should be able to win that game. And even though he doesn't have weapons, we've seen him the year they won their 3rd Super Bowl. Or was
second Super Bowl. He won his second.
Juju was like his best receiver. So I just don't, like, Danny, here are the numbers. It's 2 games, but still, they're not that dissimilar from last year's number. They're worse. But those rankings, that's kind of what's been happening the last few years with Mahomes. I do expect him to get better, certainly when the receivers get back. But still, outside of his legs, he hasn't been able to carry them with his arms like we've seen in the past.
It's just what are they good at right now? Because that was a good game from their defense.
They have an excellent run defense, and they have the most talented quarterback in football. That's what they're good at. Right now, that's it.
Right.
To me.
But that's not enough. A lot of teams are good at 2 things. Now, being great at quarterback is obviously something that any team in the NFL would sign up on. But, I don't look at them right now as a given to beat the Giants. As crazy as that sounds, it feels like they should be.
That will be telling. Let's keep in mind they have played 2 really good teams. Obviously, the best team in the league yesterday.
But just the schedule, though, too, Rashee Rice will be back after 6 games. Even if you have them beating the Giants,
they'll be, I think, 2-4, maybe 3.
If they're 2-4, 6 games into the season, you're putting a lot on, hey, Rashee Rice solves all of our problems.
Well, or you're putting a lot on the fact that they were 3-4, 6 games into the 2021 season, went 12-5, and made the AFC Championship game. You're putting a lot on the fact that we've never seen this team, not figure it out over the course of a season. And I don't think it's just you're putting a lot on Rashee Rice coming back. I think it's layered. I think it's putting a lot on getting Xavier Worthy and Rice back. Sure. I think it is the fact that here's the other piece of this. Are the Eagles great? Are they? I mean, the honest
right now,
question.
I would say no.
Okay, so you don't. I'm shocked that's your answer. I'm I'm disarmed by it.
But let's be honest. If you guys are saying, you know what? The Chiefs are 0-2, but they could be better. The Eagles are 2-0. They could be worse.
Oh, sure.
Jalen is not airing it out. The defense has done well, but these games have been what I like to call boa constrictor games. They just kind of get you and squeeze the time of possession out of you, and then it's
I agree with that. The point that I was making is if the Eagles are still considered a top flight contender, which they, what I mean, sure. Which they are. The other way to look at that game is the Chiefs without their 2 dynamic receiving weapons, with Mahomes not playing a great game and no contribution from the running game, were a dropped pass away from potentially beating the premier team in the league.
With a missed kick.
Right, with a missed field goal.
The missed field goal was from 52 yards, wasn't it?
It might have been from longer, actually.
Okay,
but that feels like
kickers are making
this has come up several times in the show, and I've bit my tongue. It's like, I know it's Butker, but it's not like, chip shot you miss.
It's not a chip shot, but I do think it's
But I just don't think when you're talking about I don't think they can be said in the same breath a 52-yard kick and a fumble at the 1 yard.
By the way, for the record, I think it was longer than 52.
57?
But I think
57 and a missed catch.
No, I agree. But I think there were 4 50-plus yard kicks attempted in that game, or the Eagles made both of theirs. Chiefs missed one of theirs.
58.
Yeah, and then he made a 56 or something. So I'm not saying that's a gimme. What I'm saying is, if you're watching on TV and your answer is yes, the Chiefs look awful, or it is time to panic, then I think a first cousin of that take is, then Philly shouldn't feel great. And because of this, what we're describing here. Now maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's.
I said, you're not going to like this, but it's a compliment.
I'm not betting you $100,000 about it.
Chiefs have been compared a lot to the Patriots. And there was a certain point in the Patriots' run, it's like, you know what? We got Tom Brady, and he's enough to figure it out. We got Tom Brady and a pretty good defense. And then sometimes even Tom Brady's like, this is not enough right here. So, no worthy. There's a slim margin for error. Rashee Rice is out. Xavier Worthy, when those guys come back, there's no secret sauce that there's not going to be another injury. And then the other thing we're not talking about is, old teams. Travis Kelce's not the old Travis Kelce.
No, that part
he's had a bad start to the season.
He's had a bad start of the season. There's no question about that. But I don't hate that, and I do think it's a compliment. And what those Patriots had in common is, despite that, they won the division every single year, and they made the playoffs.
I know, Tom Brady didn't have to run for 75 yards a game to make it happen. I was nervous. Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. That didn't go well. Old offense put up 52 on him. And Chicago seemed to be making a point of keep pouring it on. They went for 4th and goal at the 4 while being up 24.
I like that.
They sure did.
It's pro football.
Ben Johnson was asked about it after the game. Take a listen.
Do you believe Dan Campbell ran it up on you on that 4th and 4 goal?
What's he supposed to do? It's 4th and goal. What do you want him to do? Yeah, he could have kicked the field goal. They don't kick field goals. They go for it there. So he was doing what he was supposed to do. That's what he does.
How demoralizing is this loss considering you were coming back? You left for Chicago.
It's not demoralizing at all. It's not demoralizing at all.
It's a little demoralizing. it's a smidge demoralizing because for Bears fans, you got this is Bill Murray and Groundhog Day. Like I've seen this so many times. You get so hyped for a season, and it's like, oh, okay, 0-2 with a couple of division losses, got 50, hung on, and the quarterback doesn't look so good. Like I've just seen this movie so many times, but I didn't. If I was making a list of like 5 biggest problems for the Bears in this game, I don't think Caleb would be on it. Like
5.
Yeah, listen,
you had low expectations, huh?
Well,
I'm not saying he's number 1, but
you give up 52 points. He doesn't play D-line, linebacker, or secondary, so that's certainly part of it. They can't run the ball, so maybe 5, maybe he. But also all the penalties, the discipline. It was a comedy of errors, and I just felt like I have owned one house in my life. And I probably will never do it again because it was a little bit of a lemon. It was like scary. It's like you want to fix one thing, and then you open up the drywall, and it's like, oh, termites, mold, bad plumbing. That's like Ben Johnson taking the Bears job. It's like, oh, we just got to fix the offensive line. I got to tinker with the quarterback a little bit, and the team's ready to take off. But the problems seem to be so much more systemic, foundational in just the bones of the house, that this is going to take a while.
But would you argue, we've all thought in the offseason that they had a lot of help around Caleb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, when you talk about that foundation, is that Caleb?
Well, I can I say something here?
I
just don't, I think it's, I'm not saying what you're saying is silly, Brou. I think it is silly to talk about the quarterback in a game where we have on the screen they allowed 52 points. You know what I mean? Like that. I hear
that. But that's really. Well, let me put it this way, because I hear what you're saying. I think for them, for the Bears now, and Bears fans, this season shifts from we're gonna make the playoffs this year and do something to let's just see if Caleb's our guy.
Well, listen,
let's just see if he's a franchise quarterback.
I think that is the most important thing. So that is, and that's why I didn't think Caleb, listen, the play that we showed in Weird and Wonderful was obviously a terrible mistake. I thought he played better in this game than he did in week 1. And I think that you saw less of the operational issues that you had in week 1.
No question.
And those were, what, Cato?
That's good.
What do you want to say?
No, I'm not saying
he got out of the huddle quick. That's what you're thinking. Oh, he got out of the huddle.
No.
I've been sitting on a joke for 5 minutes.
All right, go ahead. Make your joke.
Is it about my house?
The family that bought Danny's house, like, what?
I was thinking that same thing.
No.
What? Termites? This guy's out here telling on himself.
I was thinking that contract thing. Like, buddy, you didn't sell that house
phone is ringing right now.
years ago. Like, termites.
The issues came up in inspection. They did very well on the sale of the house.
No, but I think Brou's point is correct. That now, while I don't know about you, are you writing off the Bears making the playoffs this year?
No, so here's the thing. I'm not. You have Dallas and Vegas and then the bye. When the schedule comes out and the bye's in week 5, normally it's like, ooh, that's bad. For a team that's this young with a new coach and a new system, maybe you can improve a lot in that scenario. You figure out a way to win these 2 games and you go into the bye 2-2.
You're fine.
You're fine. It's not great.
I agree with that.
So, Dan Campbell played the must-win card before this game, before a week 2 game. I will be very interested to see how much urgency Ben Johnson puts on this game week 3. For America's Game of the Week on Fox, the whole country's going to be watching.
Can I just be like the Neanderthal of the group?
Yeah.
These 0-2 teams.
I told you there's one good 0-2 team.
It's
the Chiefs.
All the teams are 0-2.
Well,
it's just like the team. Your hometown teams are 0-2. You're like, you know what? The Saints are bad. The Panthers are bad. The Titans are bad. The Browns are bad. The Dolphins are bad. The Giants are bad. The Jets are bad. The Chiefs, however, are actually good. They just so happen to be 0-2. Also, I was born in Kansas City, and the Bears are 0-2, and they are also good.
No,
the Chiefs
hold on. I'm not
The Bears are also, and I was born in Chicago. But poor Brou is not riding for the Saints.
No,
like,
but hold on.
Yeah,
Stop.
or the
Give me
Spencer
that.
Rattler,
Hold on.
Kellen Moore, once he unlocks stuff.
Can I have that list, please? Thank you. I mean, that was a very, funny, totally unfair shot you just took. Because the other way to look at it is the two teams that are 0-2 that were either hugely favored to make the playoffs or a coin flip to make the playoffs are the two 0-2 teams that you have some modicum of hope for. Like the Titans, Saints, Jets, Giants, Browns, Dolphins were projected going into the year to be 6 of the 7 worst teams in football. The only team that wasn't on that list that was with them was the Raiders.
And the Bears lost to a Vikings team that won 14 games last year and a Lions team, too. I mean, just like the Chiefs lost to the Chargers and the Eagles.
It's that last year, did you think Brou was crazy for saying the Ravens weren't done at 0-2 when they had lost to the Browns?
No. But I'm just saying, it's a funny coincidence. Like, we have to just, your favorite teams are 0-2. Just like the Saints are 0-2. Just like the Dolphins are 0-2. Poor Gianna's from Miami. She's not up here being like, Tyreek, if him and Tua can get on the same page, and Mike McDaniel, like,
he's a bottom line sort of guy. Wins and losses.
I mean, that's what it is.
He's saying Hurts
if
is
the
better
Patriots
than Mahomes
are 0-2, I'd be right. We would all be together, guys. But we're not.
We're not.
The Patriots are 1-1.
I got something for you if you want to see it. Because you said you hadn't seen the video. If you want a Bears take
about what?
That's a win for you.
Oh, sure, I love that.
Well, because you
Nick is just mad at me. No, it's just tomorrow. Just pull up the standings on USA Today instead of watching the show.
We should.
But no, that's what we should do.
The Giants are 0-2. The Giants scored 40. How many points did the Giants score? 37 points.
You're right. No, you're right.
I don't know.
Let Danny do his video.
Well,
you're right. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I just wanted to bring us all back together. And you love the Tush Push.
Of course.
You were very upset at Ben Johnson when he said he didn't like the Tush Push. 3rd and 1. I tried to text you about this. 3rd and 1. This is not a Tush Push. And I hate the Tush Push. Quarterback sneak. Not once, but twice. And they don't get it. This was for you to gloat.
I know. I actually felt bad. You
felt bad?
I felt bad. The game got so out of hand, I felt like there was no more room for Ben Johnson bashing.
So you wanted to save it?
No, I felt like Dan Campbell kind of
clearly should have done the Tush Push.
Right?
Took care of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was an embarrassing
His pride got in the way.
Wasn't great. Nick's legit mad at me because
he is. There's a lot of tension.
Not my fault. I'm beloved in Kansas City, and we both are.
Wow.
I
went 3-0.
Frenemies coming up next.
Are you joining that segment?
But it's upstairs with Nick's yelling at me. Stock up, stock down on the show.
Time now for some stock up, stock down. Week 2 edition. 2 games left tonight, but whose stock is up after the Sunday? Coach Mangini, Willie Colon. I'm Danny Parkins. Let's get right to it, boys. First up.
Stock up.
The Cowboys offense. My goodness gracious. They might be bad, but they're going to be fun bad. Because last year, they were just unwatchable. People are like, oh, it was just the injury. But it was really across the board. So far this year, 5th in points, 4th in yards, 6th in yards per carry, 2nd and 3rd on 3rd downs. It took them, guys, until Thanksgiving last year to have 4 rushing touchdowns. They got 4 rushing touchdowns already through 2 games. So you got Pickens, you got CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, a running game. They might be bad, Coach, but they're going to score some points.
Yeah, I agree with the stock up. And to me, the biggest part of the stock up is Brian Schottenheimer. Everybody killed Jerry for hiring him. Everybody thought, why is he getting this opportunity? And to me, of all the new head coaches, I'd argue that Brian, who also runs the offense, is doing as good, if not better job than any of those other guys.
Yeah, I'm going stock down, and it's for the defense, if that's fair.
Okay,
I mean, I get we're talking offense, but you listen, at the end of the day, you know this Dallas defense gave up 106 yards, to offense in the Giants who was ready to hand over the keys to a rookie quarterback. With that said, man, I'm frustrated because the more they play like that, it looks like the Jerry Jones deal was maybe the wrong move. You know what I mean? Especially with a secondary who, flat out, man. I know they didn't have DeRon Bland. I know they started ready start. Tayron Diggs didn't play well, but overall, man, you can't give those last-minute explosive plays.
No, the game was a shootout. I don't think they are a great team overall, but last year they were bad and unwatchable.
Yeah.
This year
they're fun, they're exciting, they're giving people hope again.
Yeah, that game was legitimately entertaining sports theater.
Yes.
And I did not think it was going to be good. And so, like, for me, who's just in it for the entertainment.
Yeah, extend the kicker.
Yeah, Oh my. We'll talk about kicking a little bit later in the week, or maybe on digital if we're not allowed to talk about it on television, because we got to get 64-yard field goals out of the game. Not a huge fan. What's next?
Stock down.
The Tush Push. Stock way down. Who would have thought that a rugby play that's impossible to see where the ball is, that's boring, would all of a sudden be getting called out by Tom Brady being like, hey, they're cheating every time they do it by jumping off sides. And then Dean Blandino is like, I'm done with the Tush Push. Here's the thing. Maybe they will have more penalties called on it, and congratulations for Philly for creating something and winning a Super Bowl with it. I think they would be great in short yardage just with normal QB sneaks, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley. Tush Push, it's got about 4 months left. It will be voted out this year, guaranteed.
No, I'm
guaranteed.
I'm going to stock up, man. Listen, they voted it okay this season.
By 2 votes. It will be gone next year.
Listen, when you look at it, I understand the offsides can't happen. There's some mechanical things you got to work out.
They do it every time.
It's a cheat code. If I'm a defensive coordinator and I got the Eagles on deck, you have to play better on first and second down, so you're not in those situations. You can't fault the Eagles for playing Eagle-style football. Other teams have done it. They're not as successful as the Eagles. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, so the stock's down nationally, and people are angry about it, and I think it's going to get voted out from an officiating standpoint. That's the angle that they'll finally get rid of it is. It's too hard to officiate. We can't make it fair.
Whatever they got to do.
But where the stock is up and where it's been Berkshire Hathaway is in Philly.
Yeah.
If you're a Philadelphia fan,
you love it.
Yeah, it is as good a stock as you could have ever bought, and nobody else can replicate it.
But Danny, also nobody's getting hurt on this play.
I've never once made
not an injury.
I've never once made that argument.
Right, but people are like, you're looking for holes in it. The only issue is that they're great at it.
Because they can't stop it.
Yeah, they can't stop it. That's it.
I don't like watching it.
What?
Yeah,
Why don't you like watching it?
Because I can't see where the ball is, and it's boring.
How did you like watching those quarterback sneaks in Chicago yesterday? Those work out well?
No, they did not, Coach. Thank you for bringing that up. But at least they failed at a normal football play instead of being successful at rugby. I'm a football fan, not a rugby fan. What's next?
Stock up.
Stock up for revenge. Sometimes it's kind of fun to be petty. Okay? And the Lions came into this thing apparently with revenge on their mind. Here's their safety, Brian Branch. Take a listen.
Very motivated. We know coming into this game that this is personal. Really, all these game personals. But this one was just, we felt like we've been, betrayed from the staff to the players. And, we love Ben. We still love Ben. He's a great coach. He's a great mastermind, but yeah, it was time to get out there. He could have went anywhere else, but he got to see us again.
You got a funny way of showing that you love Ben Johnson because you put 52 up on him, and then you did his famous stumble bum play when you got the interception. That's it. That's the Lions' defense mocking Ben Johnson. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
I got some petty in me. If you said you'll never amount to anything.
Petty Perkins?
Petty Perkins, yeah. You didn't hire me for that radio job? Look at me, Mom. Now I'm on national TV.
Oh, you keep receipts?
Oh. Elephant brain, Willie. Yeah, absolutely. So, I hated it as a Bears guy, but I respected the pettiness even if I thought it was ridiculous. It's ridiculous to be mad at Ben Johnson for taking a $10 million a year job in Chicago. It's a great city to make $10 million, right? But
Come on, that was funny. What the Lions did was funny.
No, yeah, I mean, stock up for me because I think after last week, especially against Green Bay, a lot of people were ready to write this team off for some reason, like they're not two-time defending champs. But I also think they answered the bell. Could they run the ball? They did so, especially with David, with Gibbs and Montgomery, excuse me. On top of that, this offensive line stood up in a major way, so I was happy to see that. So there's some apologies that need to go out to Johnny Morton as well because he called a hell of a game. So stock's up for me for the Lions.
Yeah, they did a really good job in Detroit selling the narrative that this is somehow personal, because it's not personal. Ben Johnson took a job in the division. I get that can be a little, maybe not what anybody wanted, but it was his best opportunity. It was the quarterback that he felt strongly about. And at the end of the day, this is business, and everybody gets that. But it's a really good job by the coaching staff selling that this is a personal narrative. Now, what I'd say for Detroit is you better be careful. This is game 2. You haven't established that everything's fixed. You had a really good game, but you haven't established that everything is quite fixed. And you're going to have to see Chicago again. So let's see whether or not you can keep celebrating at this level and keep producing at this level. And I am a big Johnny Morton fan, so I'm happy for him.
They will definitely be remembering this in Chicago, and they'll get them again and probably lose by 10. Last one.
Stock down.
In Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if anyone still owns Trevor Lawrence stock other than Nick, who calls him the Prince, but this was a mortifying loss. Joe Burrow goes down, and you still lose this game to Jake Browning. He fumbled that snap. The guy has got the most fumbles of any player since he entered the league. Miraculously recovered it. He had another red zone interception, but look at this, guys. He made history. If you get 400 yards of offense, your defense gets 3 interceptions, and you win the turnover battle. You were 70-0 coming into that game yesterday in the last 12 seasons, and they figured out a way to lose that game. It's only been 2 weeks, but that's the worst loss any team has done so far this year, Coach.
Yeah, this is rough, and Browning comes in, he throws the 3 interceptions, and somehow they figure out a way to win. I was looking at Trevor's stats versus Mac Jones, and they're very similar. They're very. Actually, Mac Jones has a little bit better quarterback rating. He's got a little bit better completion percentage. They both went to 1 Pro Bowl, and then and then Trevor's gotten the second contract. There's been so much hype from the time he's been drafted, and every year you think this is where he's going to make the jump, and every year we come back to games like this where you're just wondering, is he ever going to get it?
Yeah, it's a flat stock for me. I like to use that. But only because I think it was more situational. I think also in reference to him turning over the ball. But I also think right now, I think he's just not in sync with the offense right now. I think there's lack of chemistry.
Heard that for 5 years.
I know, but you're talking about Brian Thomas. And now you're talking about with Travis Hunter,
new coach, Liam Cohen.
So I think it's just a lot of him just getting acclimated and this team really kind of, him and this team being on the same page.
It's just the same mistakes over and over again. And he looks the part and he can throw the ball over the mountain, but when your mistakes are turnovers, it's just I want no part to do with you.
Yeah, and they trade away next year's number 1 to get Travis Hunter, thinking that he's going to help push this forward. Right. And now they're back where they started.
Well, that was a crazy game for the Eagles and the Chiefs in that low scoring, Eagles figured out a way to win. Should they be happy with the style points from that win? We'll get into it coming up. Welcome back. The story of week 1 was 4 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers and that huge offensive explosion against the Jets. Not so much in week 2. It wasn't all on the offense. Huge mistake on special teams by their rookie. Bad defensive performance that we'll get to. But the Steelers now 1-1 after a loss to the Seahawks. And Rodgers thinks it could be a good thing. Take a listen.
No, it's week 2. Come on now. Come on. It's week 2. I mean, it's good for us. Last week, probably there were some people who were feeling pretty good because everybody outside the building is talking about how great we were on offense and 34 points. That's the league. You can't ride the highs or ride the lows. You gotta refocus every single week and be a professional.
You buying that this could be a good loss? This is a good thing for your Steelers?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think sometimes you have to lose in order to know how to win, right? And I think he's looking at this team right now, who's young in a lot of areas, especially the offensive line. And the defensive line should be a lot better than what they are, but they have been underperforming. When you give up last week they gave up 100+ yards to the Jets. Now, same thing against the Seahawks. I think it's more of a pride and brand thing they're dealing with. But I also know right now Mike Tomlin is probably flipping tables and really upset that you talk about T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward. The Steelers have the highest played defense in the league right now, and you're getting beat up, right, on back-to-back weeks. And so I think they're trying to regroup and try to figure out, man, like, who are we right now? But to Aaron's point also, man, you can't get over-emotional about it. You got to be able to take this and read it and move on.
Yeah, I agree. You can't get over-emotional about a Week 2 loss, but there are a lot of things in that game that are a concern. And there's been a concern over the first 2 games defensively, so that's a problem because of how they've been paid, and what the expectations are, and how they've consistently performed. But then offensively, when you look at Aaron Rodgers, he's been sacked 7 times, which is the 4th most of anybody. And then when you look at his numbers against pressure, he was 3 for 11 for 36 yards with a pick and 3 sacks. So it's like sharks to blood in the NFL. So they see that pressure is being effective. Everybody's going to do that until you can show that you can make them pay when they do bring that pressure. And right now, it doesn't look like it. He's getting hit a lot. He's an older guy, and you're not holding up the way you'd like to on defense. That it's not you don't have to sound a big alarm, but there's definitely some red flags here that I don't think is all a good thing either.
Well, so right, exactly, and that's some coping from the quarterback after the game. But I thought Week 1 defensively was just like a weird game and an aberration. And I know that, again, one of those touchdowns was a special teams mistake. So it's not really like the defense gave up 30+ in back-to-back weeks, right? One of that's a special teams touchdown. But you got, 5 first-round picks playing in that game on defense? You got the highest-paid defense in the NFL. You gave up 14 plays of 10 or more yards in that game. T.J. Watt hasn't had a sack in 6 games. Like, that's the Jets and the Seahawks. It's not like it's the Ravens and the Bills who did it to him, or the Bengals and the Lions who did it. Like, the fact that Seattle and the Jets did that to the Steelers' defense, that would be the concerning thing. And to your point, Coach, can Rodgers survive a season getting hit this much?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning because that's what Mike Tomlin likes to lean on, especially to save the day, is the defense, right? He loves to roll it. Anytime you watch the Steelers game, it's the Steelers out first, right, to kind of set the tone and be kind of the spearhead of that team. Now you're relying on a 40-year-old plus quarterback to save the day. And to your point, Coach, because he's been sacked, because of the pressures, and because the teams have been able to get to him, now you're saying to yourself, I don't know if this guy, that grown man, can withstand that. And you're looking at your defensive leaders and T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey, on and on and on to step up to the plate, and they haven't been able to do so. So it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's Week 2, so you got to be able to breathe.
I would imagine that there's a big level of concern here, too, because when the defense falters like that, they were looking at Aaron Rodgers to just be an upgrade over what they had last year.
Yeah, for sure.
They weren't looking at him to come out and have the performances like he had against the Jets. That was a great start, but that wasn't the expectation. It was just, hey, you need to be better than Russ was last year or Justin was, and I think that's a fair expectation. And now to have this performance and for him to be dealing with that volume of pressure, it's going to be not only going to be challenging, but there's going to be some friction between him and Arthur Smith.
Let's go back to that Chiefs game. Don't know if you guys heard 3-0 this week for me. Picked it correctly with the Eagles, but there was an interesting exchange between Jalen Hurts and Chris Jones because this game was not pretty. There were not a lot of big plays. There was not a lot of great offense. It was not like the Super Bowl from the Eagles side of things where, they scored over 40 points and it was a blowout. It was ugly football that could have gone either way, but the 2 star players had an interesting exchange at the end. Take a listen. So, we bleeped it out for television, had to clean it up a little bit, but I looked at that, and I would say Philly has done a remarkable job of tuning out the noise. Because these shows that we do, like, how good is your coach? How good is your quarterback? Let's rank them. Style points, fantasy football. Is A.J. Brown going to be upset? Margin of victory?
Jalen Hurts a top 5 or not?
And by the way, and I engage in all of it. I personally enjoy it.
You steer the ship.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But that stuff is for me. It's for us. It's for fans. It's not supposed to be for Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts has been remarkable at winning when he doesn't produce. It's like, we can look at these numbers. This is crazy.
Well, can I stop you for a second? How didn't he produce?
Well, as a passer. I think of quarterbacks as the guy who throws the ball. But like when you have 125 passing yards or less and you win 2/3 of the time, that's not normal.
Yeah, but
like it's not normal. It's just not how football is normally played.
Well, two things. This is the same Jalen Hurts that won you a Super Bowl last year, playing the same brand of football,
I'm
right?
aware.
And so now we're knocking a guy for simply being poised, showing great ball security, and doing what the team has asked of him. And we forget that the Chiefs showed up and played really good on defense. They played strong, right? And so when we're knocking Jalen Hurts for doing everything we asked the quarterback to do. Don't throw away the game. Lead them down the field. Yeah, if we need a couple tush pushes to get out the building with a W, sure. And now we're saying, well, you won, but that's not good enough. I don't know. I don't want to ever live in that world as a football player where a W is simply not good enough.
I don't think that's what he's saying necessarily. I think the external world says that all the time. And there's a lot of pressure for players to validate their ability. And the thing that I love about Jalen Hurts is he's not worried about that. He's mature enough to say, I'm going to do whatever we need to do to win the game, where there's a lot of guys who would bow to the pressure. And as much as inside the locker room, those guys can tune out the noise. They've got friends, they've got family, they got loved ones, all of them saying, hey, this guy's saying this about you, this is happening. So there is some of that pressure to say, oh, I am an elite passer. And the fact that Jalen doesn't bow to that, to me, is a good reason why they have a good chance to repeat.
Yeah, I just think we can't. It's good to be satisfied, fine. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about a team right now who coming off a Super Bowl, we talk about we wait for the fall, right? Especially you coming off a significant Super Bowl, beating the Chiefs. They went back in the Arrowhead and won the football game with lack of production.
It's like Chris Jones had Jalen Hurts on his fantasy team. So you don't even have 100 yards. What are you doing?
But
You're
I just
killing
don't know,
me.
You're
I
killing
just
me
don't
out
know
there.
when we get to the point where we believe in their brand of football. We keep looking for the holes and leaks when this is just who they are.
It is. And I just love that Chris Jones was talking a little smack, even in a loss. Let's go to Cincinnati here, because that's huge news with Joe Burrow. It's a version of turf toe that's going to need surgery. That's going to have him out at least 3 months. Certainly could be the entire season. Coach, Joe Burrow was your MVP pick here, and now he will. This is a third significant injury for him in his short time in the NFL. What does another big injury for Burrow mean for him?
Yeah, this is bad for him. It's bad for the organization, and it's so hard from an organizational standpoint to have any kind of planning. And they put a dramatic amount of resources not just into him, but in the two wide receivers. They tried to put resources in the offensive line. And when you have an injury your first season, your third season, and now this season, it's a little Tua-esque, different type of situation.
Yeah, different.
But
I hear what you're saying, though.
But it's durability is more important than ability, and he hasn't shown that, and it's a problem for the organization.
Yeah, it's a tough time to reset the season, right? And now you're talking about him potentially coming back in December. The next 3 games is Minnesota, Detroit, and Denver. And now you're asking a defense who has played better to hold the fort down until you get to Thanksgiving, where hopefully you're 500 and you can realistically put something on paper when Burrow could come back. And I think that's unfair. It's heartbreaking if you're a Bengals fan because he is your season. So much was put on him, his shoulders kind of deliver him, and now he's out again. And this is a nightmare they just can't wake up from. So I don't know where you go from here.
It's weird. Like, I don't put him in the same category as Tua, and maybe that's totally unfair of me.
Well, when I say Tua obviously has the concussions, which is different,
Right.
I'm putting him in that category because we've got consistent injuries.
Even though the injuries are different.
Even though the injuries are different, there's a durability issue that is showing up that is similar.
Yeah, and again, season's over basically for the Bengals, right? At this point, you got to look at. I know the players won't look at it that way, but it feels like it's a wrap. My guy Justin Herbert's playing tonight. I'm gonna need some caffeine. 10 p.m. kickoff on the East Coast.
That's tough.
What's going on here?
It's hard to swallow.
10 p.m. It's ridiculous. Tonight, late night, we got the encore performance after the Week 1 win over the Chiefs for Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They are a 3.5-point favorite in Vegas. And listen, I think that Herbert is something not unlocked in him, but the team figured out. Hey, we can throw the ball with this guy. It's like an amazing concept. We got a good offensive line, good running game, good defense. Let's let the quarterback operate off those things and throw the ball. So I do expect him to throw 30-plus times and have another big statistical game. But also, if you just look real quick, boys, with me at the Chargers' schedule, opportunity is knocking here. You win this game against the Raiders. Now, you have 2 wins in your first 2 games against division opponents. And then you have a 3rd division game next week at home where you will be favored. You beat the Broncos. You go to 3-0 with 3 division wins. Then all of a sudden, that schedule opens up nicely. We'll see about Jaden Daniels' health. The Chargers have a real runway here with what's happened to the Chiefs to separate themselves. So I think this is a sneaky, huge spot for the Chargers tonight.
Good.
Well, I didn't think he was going to have a big game last week, and I think one of the things that really helps him is Harbaugh's willingness to run the ball as much as he does. And
they got to be more effective than they were last week.
Well, not just that, but they will commit to the run, which defensively you're thinking, okay, we got to bow up for this. And then that opens up a lot of things for Herbert.
Well, you're talking about commitment to the run. I think it was his commitment to use his legs in situational football that showed up big. And I think the Chargers right now figured out, man, like if we could run the ball and play behind his playmaking ability, we can be dangerous, right? Because he didn't just use his legs, rely on his legs. He used it as a weapon, especially to seal the end of that game. So if I'm the Chargers right, man, you have to be really happy. Like, man, we got a quarterback.
Danny's got him at 7-0.
I do. I do. Nice little run. Bucs Texans tonight, Chargers Raiders. We're talking about it all tomorrow. Same crew is back on FTF.